Hey everybody. Okay, yeah. Hey Kevin. I was gonna try something, but it turns out it's not possible. I wanted to see what would happen if I changed the OBS profile as I was streaming, but it doesn't let you do that. Um, yeah, today's gonna be about adding farming to the game. We also have a PR to look through. Adam is going to be adding the farming system to the game. This is something that he slightly redesigned on Monday, so that would be more fun. And he's hoping he can get to the point today where he can validate whether it actually is more fun. All right. Okay, so updates. One, I changed my lighting a little bit. I'm not sure if it's gonna look better or worse. Maybe at some points I'll be a little bit darker, but this looked kind of natural to me. Let me see. Yeah, I know I have like a faint green glow around the outside of my body, but that's it's just poor lighting on my green screen, I think. But yeah, like I said, I moved the lighting around a bit. I also made a short. I think probably the people who are going to show up here in the next 5 minutes will have already known about this. But this is the first short I ever made. And really, it's not a short, it's just a vertical video. It's about 2 minutes long, which is why I say it's not really a short. But already looking at the stats, let me see if I can show this. Mute this content. Where do I see this? Here it is. Okay, this number, +7 subscribers. It's like better than a lot of my other content. And I think this makes sense that it would be this way because this video is meant for just a generic audience who might be interested in this stuff and not like, oh, hey, you've been following this game for the last 6 months. Now here's the next update. So I'm pretty happy about that. Revenue doesn't show up yet. I don't know how much you make off of shorts. I'm not expecting it to be a lot of money, but I mean, if I make $1 or something, that'd be great. I don't think it'll be that high though. Hey, Darkham too. Hey, Remy. It's that guy from the short. It's him, everybody. I love that guy's shorts. Yeah, so I have not filed all of those things on the list. I definitely want to do that tomorrow, Thursday. Take care of this list. At least the stuff up above. And I'll just, I guess, bump all this stuff down to the Thursday section. All right. Oh yeah, and then this, I just want to comment on briefly. So this short, as I mentioned, was my first ever short, but it took me a very long time to get to this point. I don't consume short form content, so I don't know what it's like to make it or what people expect out of it. And it's going to be a learning curve, and I already got a lot of good feedback. But what was it last week? Last week I wanted to do something and just didn't feel like writing out the script and figuring out all the editing stuff. And yeah, it took a lot to overcome all that for yesterday. So as an example, normal content that I have is 1920 by 1080. This is what 1080p is. The short content is typically just the opposite of that. So 1080 by 1920. Because of that, you need to record in such a way that you can eventually fill this resolution. So one way to do it could be if I were to be able to turn my monitor and then just change my screen resolution. But I didn't do that. What I did instead is I set OBS to output to 1920 by 1920, I think. And that way I could record two things side by side and then later edit them to be in the right spots. Anyway, all of that stuff took me a long time to figure out. All right, let's put chat over here. Hey, Silas. I've been considering doing shorts for my layout build. How's the experience of creating them? It was a lot of pain getting it set up, but I think that's because of how I did it. And part of that too was trying to figure out where I want to do the chroma key. So I have a green screen behind me. You can't see the sort of cutout there, but you could either do it in OBS or you could do it in your editing program. And I use DaVinci Resolve. It's not as easy to do it over here, but if you could do it over here, then you can add any background you want later. And so I went the easy route and then added the background in OBS directly. But even figuring this stuff out, like I just got the paid version of this, and there's like something called Magic Mask where you can just like click a person and it'll mask them out, but it doesn't do a perfect job at it. Anyway, there are lots of those little things where I was just like, oh, is this worth worrying about? Should I do this? And then other things I had automatic captioning. Again, that's a paid feature of this program, but it didn't do the best job at it, so I had to clean them up, and even then they were too fast and everything. So I don't think it's too bad once you've done your first short. Then your second short should be easier. But getting the first one all figured out, I think that can be a little tough. If it's more as an actual long video, at least I expect this might just be me. I wanted to try short form stuff, and it just turned out that this one ended up being long. I think in an ideal world, I would have like timed everything ahead of time and tried to get this to be a minute. But I agree. I think some of this stuff would be better as long form. I think the expectations also change with long form stuff. So originally, the thing I wanted to do was talk about how we do tooltip on parent. But then I'm like, man, if I make this a long form video, people are probably going to expect there to be code, and I don't want to. I don't want to do that. I just want to talk about the stuff that we did, and that's what made me kind of change the bit. Heard a number a couple days ago. Someone had 5 million views on their short, and it was like $1,200. I think that's pretty good because I don't know what the ratio you can generally expect. Like if you have a non-short video and it gets X views, but then you make it a short video, it's going to be some like Y times X, where I'm pretty sure Y is like greater than 2 or something. So typically I think you'd get more views on a short video. So is it, is it like you're getting 5 times more views? So it's like getting 1 million views on a regular video, probably something like that. Because I imagine that's, or maybe it's not quite 5 times, but they can't monetize it as easily. All right, so first thing we have to do, we got to clean up the code that I did just for the video. So let's cut this stuff out. So I'm going to clean up code from the video, then review the PR, and then get back to farming. Where'd the farming stuff go? Where did it go? Yeah, I should just put this stuff up here. Okay. Hey, Atomic Man. Doing pretty well myself. How about you? So yeah, this is the stuff I had to change for Godot. I had to change the startup resolution and where the thing shows up and a whole bunch of other things. Wait a second, why is that 5120? Hang on a second. I got to make sure I have this written down because I'm about to delete this. And I would have only written it on my private notes. So let me take a look really fast. $51.20. Yes, good. Okay. All right. So then I can delete this. I should be able to delete all of this stuff. I just need to make sure I didn't keep anything around. Yeah, I said the town hall cost of 48 for testing. Got rid of that. I made it so you could create an item at the mouse. That was actually kind of cool. I'll show that really fast. Hey, Pretzel. Stash it maybe. Yeah, that probably would be smart to do. I think what I'll do is I'll get this into like a stashable form later because I think I made a lot of little changes. And I just want to get back to things quickly. Anyway, this is what I wanted to show off. If I just right click here, I can create items wherever the mouse is. And I thought that was kind of cool. Might be neat to have a spell that just like spews items at your mouse cursor. So if you put them out of bounds, let's say we make a bunch of workers here, and you put this out of bounds, they'll just get as close as they can, and then they'll just magically pick up the item. So they'll get to like here, and then get the item. Yeah, which is fine. You're not supposed to be able to do this. This was just for the video, and I didn't even use this in the video. I intended to use it, but then I'm like, oh, I'll just cheat in some money. Any of this other stuff that needs to be left in? Nope. Yeah, none of this. Okay, cool. Thanks, Apressel. Am I an iOS or an Android guy? I'm an Android guy. I've never, the kids, I've never used an iPhone. I've used an iPhone. I've never owned an iPhone, if that's the right way to say it. Like, I've never used it as my primary device. It's funny because my wife has an iPhone, I have an Android phone, and whenever we use the other person's phone, we get bothered by the typing and the like gesture differences. I don't know how people type on iPhones. And obviously you get used to it and everything, but yeah, just picking it up for like 2 minutes here and there every once in a while. I'm like, God, this is frustrating. And working without rest for the last 48 hours. Oh man, how did it go? got a video on C# event bus and I immediately rewrote my game. What game? What's up with the lighting today? Yeah, I changed the lighting. Is it much worse? Because I moved some things around in the room and I was trying to get for better chroma keying here, but I wonder if I should like switch some of this stuff back. It's gonna, man, I probably need to angle these differently. That's the real problem. It is much worse if you ask me. Okay, let me try something really fast. Changing lighting a bit. One moment. I'm still here. I just want to angle this. Probably won't be able to hear me very well. Give me a sec. Okay, let's see if that's any better. Also, I had the keyboard camera off. Is that better? I raised them up a little bit. A platformer. Tell me more. Able to answer all the queries so pretty well. That's good. Good to hear. Yeah. Yeah, invisibility potion, but just lesser invisibility. All right, so this part's done. Now let's look at the PR. I'm zoomed by 50x. PR, checkout 819. This should automatically pull. It did. Oh wait, no, it's behind. No, then it pulled. Okay. My square can shoot another square. I see. I want to make a platformer someday. Still looks pretty dark. I mean, it's not bad by any regard. I just prefer the more bright version. Huh. Yeah, I would probably need to revert everything back to how it was. I think it's mostly, let me try this. Let's do this. Move this a little bit. And just blast this light. No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to turn it up that high. Let me turn it up to something like that. No, that's too much, I think. That's probably pretty good. That's now much brighter in my face. Yeah, I should probably turn it down for the sake of my eyes. Yeah. All right. Well, for those with the 50x zoom, it's not going to look as good, I guess. And actually, I should still turn this down. I think this is too much for my eyes. Let's get it to the point where it's bearable. Post a video? Yeah, I'd like to see it. I think that'd be cool. Okay, so files change. What do we got here? What is this? Just a spacing change? What? What's going on here? This takes up 3 lines and this takes up 4, but it doesn't render like. Oh, because every line changed? Oh, I see. Okay. Item value to be turned in. Wait, this gets saved? We might not need to do that. I mean, I know that's proper, but we could just not save it and people probably wouldn't care. Maximum item value that the pawn can currently accept. So will accept item is the amount that this thing's going to be worth is worth less than the maximum. Need to account for the value of items that were in the process of being turned in when the game was saved. Otherwise those items would be lost. Accumulated item value. Accumulated extractor value plus the item value to be turned in. Update the fish count. Turn in item calls update fish count. Want to accept at least one item. This is because in will accept item, we will accept items as long as there's any space in the machine, independent of whether we would overflow or not. Okay. And then fish to give, modify fish count. Okay, good. Items can be turned in asynchronously when they fly in. To prevent dropping off extra items when this happens, we accumulate the value for those items at the moment they start flying in. We keep track of these items and verify them later and turn an item. Turn the item to whoever tried to drop it off. Oh man. This is potentially risky because it's possible that they're holding another item already. Like if we made the travel time, let's say 10 seconds, and then the worker could make it to another item soon enough. The reason I mention this is because it's possible that like adventurers eventually drop their items where they are. So a worker tries turning in an item, then immediately picks up one that's right near where they are. I need to put some thought into this. Let me see. Maybe read the. Oh, I did read that earlier, but I should probably refresh my memory. Yeah. And yeah, this I've got to fix too, which I got to write down. Copy link. So fix this issue with drop off item that Kevin mentioned. Okay. Hey, Salsas. Hey, Lupus. Hope all is well. And the Skeletons are selling. Yeah, all is going pretty well. Yeah. Rumors are they're announcing the new M5 Ultra Max Studios this week. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do. I think I mentioned this earlier, but I don't think I would get a new one for quite a long time. That happens before it animates. Oh, I see. Okay. That should be fine. Where is this happening though? Drop off item. Item value to be turned in. I wonder if we should do what we did with the item bin and have a will turn in item. Rumors. Uh, yeah, I generally, I will say this. I try to avoid pretty much all the tech rumors. I mean, I read this because it's in chat and I don't know what you're about to say until I read it. But things like the Nintendo Switch stuff, I was just like, I gotta block all this. People have been talking about Nintendo Switch 2 for what, like 5 years or something. And at some point, it's just noise. It's just people trying to get views. Accepted is taken into account. This seems strange to me. Huh. So we're gonna figure out how much is accepted. Let's say you're turning in 3 potions and all 3 are accepted. So that means we're going to subtract the remaining quantity, which is going to be 0. So this is still going to be 3. Why do we subtract this? Like we can use accepted quantity right here, but this is actually modifying the item itself. I don't think I understand this. Yeah, I'm going to write a note to myself for right now. Sure, I understand why this is here. This method will be called when items are turned in. Or returning in items is an async operation since items can fly in. So it's only get called once the item actually arrives. With that in mind, there's a possibility this method will not actually be called in some situation. Hmm. Difference is that the will turn in item happens in the quest, not the item bin. I see. Okay. Also, I'm not sure if you're delayed. I'm gonna type test and say test. 3, 2, 1, test. Well, I know you can check your latency yourself, but that might make it a little clearer. All right, I'm still not sure about this, but also I kind of want to think about this. One of the issues I have with PR sometimes is that they can be the right or the wrong solution, and I sort of get anchored to whatever their solution was. Only a few seconds, yeah. And I want to think, how would I have addressed this if I were to address this? So our problem is um, turning in items is asynchronous, and it's possible that the destination will no longer accept the item by the time it makes it there. So in general, what we can do is say, too bad, you lose the item, or we could try to give the item back to the source, and barring that, drop it on the ground, which is pretty weird. Or make sure this can't happen. It's already there before. But it was only in the if location to make sure that to make the item that animates only have the amount of items that actually fly there. Now it needs to be done always, so if we don't pass a location, we don't count extra items later. Okay, I think then that this could just be reframed to make it perhaps a little bit easier. Um, just say item quantity equals accepted quantity. And same thing here. Because the way it was written before is technically correct. The item quantity minus the accepted quantity is the remaining. So the item quantity minus the remaining quantity is the accepted quantity. But I think it's clearer written like this. Okay, I'll delete this. So we opted for the make sure this can't happen route, right? Except for not, we can't do that apparently. All right, drop off item is called from the worker. So two workers try to drop off an item. First, they're going to call will accept item. Yeah, this is all fine. This is implemented in the extractor. Will accept item. So what are these corner cases that are described here? Are these corner cases? I think as it is now, it can't happen. I included the workaround since we talked about adding it as an extra guardrail. Oh, I see. Okay, so in the future, this is maybe possible. All right, so just in case there's some error in the code and this won't accept items, we handle it gracefully. I feel like in this case, we should probably log that this is an error. That way it's clear. I'm not sure what we should even say here. Also, we keep track of the machine name, don't we? Oh, whoops, I was supposed to fix that. All right, run .NET format. I have protected town in the item machine and didn't mean to leave that in. All right, item machine is trying to turn an item. So wait, we don't save the machine name? Where do we put that? Machine name is there. We initialize it in the lever. So the lever knows the machine name. I was going to say we could say extractor versus, uh, what's the other one called? The seed maker. Oh yeah. But I know this was my thing. I know I need to fix this stuff, and I just didn't do that. I kind of want this to exist, so I think let's go do that really fast. We'll just make the machine name public. It's only going to be used for this error message probably. So machine name and get private set. All right, now where do you put these things? Like that? No, like that. All right, so now what we can do is we can format this as lever dot machine name. Oh my God. Raid and run. Take care, Mr. Halsey. Thank you for the raid. Neutral response to the run. Hope you have a good day. And hi, all you raiders. We are working on adding farming into the game. By the way, I never actually give shout outs because I never remember, but I have remembered now. So let's give a shout out to Mr. Halsey. Very calm, laid back presence. We're working on farming. We're slowly making some progress through this. And I don't know what I can show because I don't know what we have right now, but I think it's all just very, very basic stuff so far. So we have this farm that can be unlocked. It's covered by a lot of rocks at the beginning. You eventually clear out the rocks, and that's it. There's no way to plant seeds. There's no way to harvest them. There's this device, which is what's going to give you seeds eventually. You turn this on, and then you can bring potions to it. And yeah, that's what's going to give you seeds, but it doesn't do that yet. I think we'll get some of that stuff working this morning, though. Okay, so we don't know who tried dropping off an item, but we can at least explain some details about this. An item, $item, no, not like that, was dropped off to the extractor seed maker, but was not accepted. Yeah. Now, just to make sure this is working, let's just print it out because I don't know what this is going to do. The toString on item might not be clear. Hey, Phil, how you doing? Okay, so now we just put an item in here and it should log an error. An item, yeah, this is bad. All right, do we have a toString? No. So it's just using Godot's, which is not helpful. Maybe item data's toString is better. How do you override toString? There, yeah. Okay, so return sure that. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, let's try running that. Can we put the stack trace somehow? Is it worth doing? We should be able to. And yeah, it's probably worth doing. We just can't throw an exception to do it. All right, so I do this. It should say we dropped off one potion. An item, small blue potion, X1 was dropped off. Yeah, let's just change this slightly to be the other way around. We'll say 1x small blue potion. And then instead of even saying an item, we'll just say item was dropped off to that but was not accepted. Great. Okay, so put this down here. And now we're good. And then I don't think we need to comment on that anymore. Then this comment was pointless. Oh, what was I going to do? Stack trace, C# log stack trace, or like get stack trace. Programmatically get stack trace. Environment.stack trace, or this. Okay, yeah, environment.stack trace should be what I want then. It's just a string. Its value can be empty. All right, so then I guess like /n and then environment.stack trace. Why does that not exist? What? Oh, there it is. Why didn't it ask if I want to use system here? Or maybe it's pointing to, because there's a Godot environment. Okay, I understand. Ambiguous using. Okay, now let's put this up here again and just make sure it logs correctly. This will help, but it's not going to help a whole lot because It's either going to be you or it's going to be a worker. So in this case, you could tell that it is, yeah, you. So 1x small blue potion. Okay, wait, one tiny other change here. I'd like there to be square brackets around the small blue potion. Shout out to the seed maker, but was not accepted. Perfect. Okay, that is great. Let's do that. All right, I think that'll make this a little bit clearer. I did not spend a lot of time. Oh, yeah, that's right. I was thinking about how the whole make sure this can happen, and I thought, wait, but it can still happen. But no, we have made sure that it can't. And this makes sense reading through it. My concern is that anytime we try doing this in the future, we're going to have to do this funny little dance here. So, what are the components of this dance? It's in drop off item. We need to keep track of what will be turned in. And then when you turn in an item, follow up on that you're keeping track on. And I guess that's kind of like what happens with quests as well. We have like a will turn in item and then drop off item. Because yeah, I think that's the kind of thing we need to track somewhere. Let me go take a look at item bin and see how that works. Because I think that's the last component of this that I want to do. Right? Instructions on how to handle this in the future. So item bin has... There's will accept item, which tests if the quest will accept it. Then there's drop off item, which calls will turn in, and then turn in item does something else. Okay, yeah. So those are the components of this. Do we have any make markdown files for this? I don't know. Let's just search for MD and then go here and then look in our folder that we have. No. Okay. I wasn't sure that we had one. What's my words per minute? I haven't done a real test in a long time. Also, welcome in. Hey, Sam. Yeah, I haven't done a test in a long time, so I'm not totally sure. I guess you could technically just measure it yourself if I ever do a long enough stream of typing. But yeah, I don't plan on doing a typing test. For the longest time, I have this command, and it's just kind of intended to be a joke. Okay, so let's save this as, what do we call this? Like item destinations, maybe? Yeah, that's probably good. Item destination. What is this called? It's item destination. All right, so we'll just make this lowercase then. Item destination. So background. I'm writing this because we have item destination, and it's not an asynchronous travel times when turning in items, and it may not be obvious in the future how to work with this. In general, the problem is that the destination, hang on a second. Yeah, okay. Do you need to think about this? I don't think 78 is bad. Also, I've been kind of, my general philosophy is this. The faster you can go from what am I doing to how am I doing it, the less time you have to context switch and lose your train of thought. And this goes not just for typing, but really anything, right? If you're like, oh, hey, I need to make a new project. And just the amount of time it takes you going through like, okay, file, whatever, you might get sidetracked and be like, oh, why does this have autosave on? I forgot about this. And then all of a sudden now you're in a browser looking up what is autosave and you forgot about making a new project. So I think it's the same thing with typing in general. Like you are writing some line of code and you type out like void function and then some arguments here, and then you forget the syntax maybe. And it's like, if you can shortcut that whole process somehow, maybe you have a snippet, maybe it's just built into your muscle memory, then there's a less chance of you just losing your train of thought. And that's the only reason I think improving your typing speed is good for coding, really. For other things, like if you're writing emails a lot, like obviously your typing speed is going to have pretty much a one-to-one correlation with how fast you write emails. Like you're not usually blocked on how fast you can think for an email. Well, I guess it depends on the email. If you're writing an email to your friend or something, then you're probably not spending a whole lot of time thinking about what you're saying. You're just typing. But yeah, in the future, maybe we'll just all use voice to text. I feel like I'm getting called out with that autosave thing. Yeah, the problem. Okay, so the problem is the destination is that destinations can only accept so many items. Actually, usually, only the garbage slime is an example of something that can always accept item. But since there's an animation time for them to fly in, then it's possible that they would no longer accept the item by the time, by the animation's completion. The general solutions to this problem are tell the player to deal with it. Well, yeah, they would probably lose items, or try to refund the item somehow, e.g., put it back into workers' hands. This may not always be possible, e.g., if you, well, I guess let's delete this. E.g., if you try putting it into a worker's hands, but they're already holding something else. And the last thing is to prevent this from ever happening in the first place. Hey, Free Technic, we opt for the third solution. And if we're going to write third solution, then we might as well number these things. So there we go. We opt for the third solution. By the way, you might be wondering why did I type 1 3 times. That's actually how you do this in Markdown. No, man, I gotta put an eye drops in the morning. It's getting a little absurd. I made mochi pancakes this morning, by the way. They're pretty good. I've never used rice flour for pancakes. We opt for the third solution, which means item destinations need the following code. Will accept item can just do what it normally should do. No, that's not true, is it? Extractor. Item value to be turned in. Yeah, so technically not really true. They should track which items will be turned in, but haven't made it yet. Will accept item should take this into account. Because you don't allow a new item if the items that will be turned in would invalidate the new ones. It was yummy. Hey, Goose. There are those who say you should learn C++ as a first language and those who say you should learn Python first. What do you think about learning the first language? I wrote a whole blog post about this, and the short answer is I don't think it matters what you learn. If you, well, as long as you're motivated. If you stick with programming, you'll probably learn 5+ languages. And if you don't stick with programming and it was because you were unmotivated, then yeah, maybe another language would motivated you more. But if you don't stick with programming and it didn't have to do with motivation, you just didn't like it, or I don't know what, someone else, you were just trying to do a job and someone else is doing that job or something, then there's no real problem, right? All right, as you track which items will be turned in but haven't made it there yet. Should take this into account. Don't allow a new item if the items that will be turned in would invalidate the new ones. For a concrete example, an item display that is about to receive 2 items when it can hold 3 total should still accept 1 more. There's another part of this, which is when you drop off the item. Drop off is over here. Yeah, drop off item needs to keep track of what will be turned in. I'm gonna just keep italicizing will. And then finally, Like this is as soon as it's called, and then trigger the asynchronous animation. And when the animation is done, the temporary value of what will be turned in is now a known value that was turned in. So we call turn in. Yeah. Then saving needs to be taken into account, right? We save the extractor. Turn in, yeah. Okay, let's just say we'll call this temporary or like item that will be turned in or items. We'll call it whatever we call it here. Yeah, items that will be turned in for the sake of this documentation. Okay, will accept items should take this being this, into account. Don't allow a new item if the items, if this would invalidate the new ones. Yeah. Drop off item needs to keep track, needs to modify this immediately as soon as it's called. And when the animation is done, this should be modified to stop tracking the item now that we know it was turned in. And then you should save and load this so that someone, this is pretty minor, doesn't turn in an item I guess I'll say it this way. In case autosave kicks in as soon as the item is dropped off, but before it reaches the destination. Do item displays work this way? Because if so, that's good proof that I've done this correctly, and I'm not actually sure. So there's current items in flight. That's how they track this. There's just a Boolean here. Oh, wait, no. We automatically mark that the item is there. And then the animated item is just an animated item. So this is going to be here immediately. Someone forgot to add item value to be turned into fishing pond save data. I thought I saw that in the PR. Are you saying you didn't use it? Oh, it's not saved. Oh, yeah, that's bad. Where do we even get the save data though? Oh, the fishing pond has it. That's why. That's probably why this isn't obvious. Maybe we should just keep track of the extractor's save data itself too. And now what? This is protected. So we need to make this public, or we need to just get the extractor save data. I think it makes more sense to just get the save data from this. And that would have made this more obvious too. So I think let's go do that. Oh man. Okay, let's go take a look. Fishing ponds, save data. So let's do public class extractor save data. This is going to keep track of these two things. And then in here, we just keep track of a public, should know what I want. It doesn't. And then in order for this, we need to actually pass this in over here. Should know what I want to do with that. Good, cool. or interface for those two properties, maybe overkill. I'm not sure because item displays do things differently. Item displays track what will be turned in, but only as the animated item. So it does it a little bit like almost backwards. It works. I'm not saying it's wrong. It's just different enough where it might violate that interface. Lifebeard, thanks for the resub. Happy 1 year. Quite the anniversary. I appreciate it. All right, fishing pond now needs to pass that in. So extractor save data equals that. Let's delete this from over here. Paste all of that, copy it like this. Have it return extractor save data. And then we can put these things here. We don't need this or this. We probably don't need this to be public either. So now this goes into the extractor. Public should come before private. There we go. Oh, the extractor is seed maker. Possibly. I'm probably going to code that somewhat soon. So how about this? Mention it to me if I forget. Please. Okay, so now we have the save data is automatically going to be used from this thing. Save data, good. And then load from save data is going to need to plug this back into extractor dot. Do we have this capitalized? We do, yeah. Load from save data. There. Okay, so the accumulated item value. Oh God. Oh man. Yeah, this is correct. So we this is not fishing pond save data. No, this is extractor save data. I'll just call it save data. Oh my God, what am I doing? What am I doing? All right, there we go. Now what's red here? There's no argument that corresponds to this. Yep, my bad. All right, we're getting there. We are getting there. So as long as the accumulated value and now items to be turned in. What was it called? Oh, it's saved right there. Item value to be turned in. Yeah, perfect. Okay, hey Grace. It's going pretty well. I'm just getting started, building up some momentum for today. Going through a PR that Kevin had done, which fixes some bugs that existed. I think we're in good shape now, and I think we just need to check this in. Have I finished writing this thing? Yes. And maybe I should say in item destination to see the documentation that we wrote, and maybe this is where the documentation should have been. Can you reference files? I don't know how you would do that. The crefs are for actual code, I believe. C# doc comment reference file. I don't think this would matter anyway, because it's not like we have some refactoring tool that's going to keep this in sync with where the file path is. Yeah, I'll just name it C item destinations.md. Yeah, this is fine. For more information on how to implement this interface. Yeah. All right, so let's take a look. That's good. That's good. So we added some documentation here. That documentation should be its own entire commit. So how about this? Let's plug this into docs.new. In case anyone doesn't know, typing docs.new just makes a new Google document. And not word count. What am I doing? And then spelling and grammar check. No suggestions for review. Okay, move to trash. Actually, could this spell check, I wonder? Can you spell check this document? I don't know what it did. But whatever then, fine. This is why I just don't deal with this stuff anymore. right, so add documentation on how to implement item destination. It's too big. So things like code speller for. Does it do grammar checks too? This is probably what we should have done in this pattern for a lot of different things. I'm not going to invalidate the save file version because I think I already did that. And if I didn't, then too bad, I guess. No one's gotten this version in the public yet anyway. All right, so this is save and load stuff a little bit more easily. And that's so far all of this that we've looked at. So we can check in that and this and all of this. But then none of this other stuff, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, no, none of this other stuff. Okay, so save, what's that property called? Item value to be turned in. This wasn't being saved before, possibly because the extractor doesn't have its own save data, or didn't. I should say didn't. This work correctly? Yeah. Okay, then I think we have a couple of little things here. Yeah, this stuff on its own. Slightly clarify code. I'm not even going to write a thing for that. I think that's clear enough. Okay, and then the rest of this is just printing an error. Yep. Print error for edge case. The old code made it sound like this edge case could happen currently, but it probably can't happen now. So this makes it a little bit clearer. All right, so sync those changes. I don't think we actually tested this, but Kevin did say that there's another error here, which is this. Started hitting a different exception with workers. From what I can tell, drop off item state and toggle the item machine assumes that the entity will have a target location, but it doesn't seem like that's always the case. So how could that not be the case? We get into here. We assume that we have a target location because of this, and this might be false. So how is that possible? They enter the state, but then process isn't called yet. I see. Yeah, I see. That must be a very rare error. We only do this here, though, to change the destination. I guess if they haven't gotten a destination, then we should just ignore this completely. Yeah. Yeah, let's do that. Alternatively, we can make this potentially return null. And then just if they don't have anything, don't do anything here. But I don't think that's technically correct. I think they should get a destination if they don't have one. But yeah, then here's what I'm gonna do. Let's take this up to here. Make this question mark, make this or null. If either of these is null, then just return. We can use is. Then down here, we don't need this anymore. So now we know this isn't null. If they don't have a target location, then don't bother setting one here, since they'll get one normally eventually. Yeah. Have you read any books on game programming? If so, are there any that you recommend? A lot of the books that I've read on any kind of programming were long enough ago where I don't think they'd really be relevant anymore. I think there are some principles of game dev that probably haven't changed, but really games have changed a lot in the last really any amount of time, right? Like 5 years, 20 years. I guess they haven't changed as much in 5 years, but still, I think they're changing and people's expectations are changing. So unfortunately, I can't recommend something There is one thing I can recommend though, actually. Game design patterns. I think this is pretty good. This one. This is free as a web book. If you, yeah, click here, read now. And I think this is pretty good. This is just for programming patterns. It's not for like, okay, you're thinking about this problem. How do you, players need to go get resources in the game. Like, how do you solve that? It's not game design. It's just code design. GPP to be very useful reading. Yeah. Also, hey, Miser. I think that in a lot of creative realms, and I guess I put game design into creative, but it's not entirely creative. It's just like kind of problem solving, but it's like creative problem solving. Same thing with music, same thing with art to some extent. With all of these things, I think the two main routes you can go are try to learn it yourself and develop the faculties for catching these things. So for music, it's like tuning your ear essentially. For art, it's tuning your eyes. For game design, I think it's looking with a critical lens at the games that you play and trying to see how they solved problems like that, the ones that they encountered. And I I just mentioned this earlier, but I made my first YouTube short yesterday. And it's a series called Game Dev Problems and How I Fix Them. And I want to focus on this because I feel like people don't know the process. They just see what you end up with as a result in the game. And there are some pretty cool things that exist out there in terms of game design problems and how people fix them. And I remember hearing about some that were coding problems and how people fix them, of like, how do we patch a game that wasn't intended to be patched? There's some crazy stuff for that. Okay, so I think this should fix this problem. Yeah. Fix bug that Kevin found. It was possible for workers to have no target location component in drop off item dot toggled item machine. I assume this is because the worker had just entered the state but hadn't actually hit state process yet. Okay, let's go test this stuff. So the way I originally hit this, oh, that's not good. Whoops. Oh yeah, my bad. This shouldn't even be here though. Fishing pond save data shouldn't be used in SeedMaker. I'll just write it to do here. Load from a distinct save location. Yeah. Fix bug in SeedMaker. Okay. Let's try building that. So the way we originally reproed this is by granting most things, clicking this, stacking up to 3, building the fishing pond, getting this to be 1 higher, save, and then make a bunch of workers, grant a bunch of items, turn this thing on, and then just wait. And hopefully never errors. Yeah, looks like it's good. Maximum number of fish is 35 now. Yeah, cool. I think this is working. Did it look correct? So I was only watching the number, not the actual potions being brought over. Let's see. Yeah, looks good. Cool. All right, let's check it in. Squash emerged. Yeah, thanks for doing this. I fixed the bug that you mentioned in your last comment. Okay, so this is done. This is done. .NET format needs to be run. We can really just write that for the cleanup thing. I guess I might as well do this now. I using the new Godot version? I'm using a new one, but not the newest one. There aren't very many changes in between the version I'm using and the newest one. So item machine has a protected town in here, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. And we want to make this capitalized town and a get private set. And then we put this down here somewhere. And that's it. That should just fix that. .NET format. Let's run it. Oh, I gotta also look through those Discord things. Take care of this list and then look through the Discord messages from Zaphoid. Yeah, and then this should be tabbed in, but it's probably messed up. All right, any issues? I'm gonna ignore all the to-do items for now. I know about those. Add a nested comment explaining why this is empty. There's a to-do item around that, right? Yep, there is. Remove this to simply inherit the behavior. Where's that? Move this turn in item. What even is that? What? I'm so confused. This says line 24, remove this method turn in item. There's no turn in item here. Huh. Maybe it's complaining about something else. Remove unused data in spellbook. Yeah, I guess we don't need this anymore. Move unused parameters spell ID. Oh, because the book knows its spell. Interesting. Yeah, we don't need this anymore. This was public, so it might have been called elsewhere. Ooh, speaking of that, drat, there was one other thing I wanted to do, which is that the extractor had something that was public that maybe doesn't need to be public anymore. It might have been in Seed Maker. Or not Seed Maker, Item Machine. This is protected. This is public. Is this needed? No, it can be protected now. All right, nice. Cool. All right, let's try building. And then we can start writing the actual farming code. So just an hour-long detour away from the farm. Yeah, I built. Now let's look through the changes. So this is make the town protected. So that's here, 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 and here. Anything else? No. So just this is what we do for making the town protected. This is technically part of fixing a linting issue. Make town protected in item machine. All right, next up. This is just fix linting issues, right? Yeah, fix linting issues. I also made this item machine not this protected because it was no longer accessed publicly. The link everybody wants to go to. All right, get back to farming. Let's do it. All right, where do we leave off? Manifest crop data, seed graphic, mature plant graphic, food value, base chance to be chosen. Okay, so what did we say? It'll be converted into random seeds. And the randomness is something that you can control via perk, maybe. Where do we write perks? Okay, the size, change chances to get good seeds. All right, let's look at our graphics. We have green and red, I don't know, vegetables. These look like tomatoes to me. Then there's a blue one. And then we have some peppers. And we have a pumpkin. And that's kind of it, unless you count these things. What are these? Some kind of root vegetable. Do we have the graphics for those when they're pulled out of the ground? We might. Hang on one sec. Let me go find this. It might be one of these. Yes, we do. All right, so open that too. Oh, you know what else we should open? We should probably open all of this stuff. And then what's this last one? What's the end goal of a game? The end goal of the game is to sell an antidote, although you don't know that that's the end goal of the game. Okay, so here are our four. Ooh, what just happened? I tried moving this, but it doesn't look like it wants to move. Oh, this is super messed up. All right, whatever. Ignore that then. So what do we have in here? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I don't know. These are all kind of the same, just they're palette swaps. Same thing with these two and same thing with these two. Then a pumpkin and then corn. Hey, Pink Yoshi. Joshi? Did I ever ask you about the pronunciation of your name? No, feel free to tell me. All right, what else do we have? What's this? What are those supposed to be? Onions? Do we have an onion graphic? No? Are they here? I think it's a leek. Is that what that is? Yeah, I think it's supposed to be a leek. All right. Yoshi, like from Super Mario. Gotcha. Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. That is not what I meant to copy. Yoshi. What aspects of the farming system are you trying to make? So the whole thing. How in depth of a system or how, oh, I see. What is the system? So the system is you're going to build a farm like what you see here, and you're going to start with just a tiny area that you can plant crops in. You'll eventually upgrade to get rid of these rocks. And just like with the fishing pond, you have a seed maker. It takes in potions and gives you seeds. It'll automatically plant the seeds onto your farm, at which point they'll just start growing. And then when they're mature, you can harvest them and it'll give you food. So that's pretty much the whole system, and then the food you use to upgrade your adventurer's health. It's a grain pond, yeah. With rockfish. All right, so all we're trying to do right now is figure out which crops are you able to grow on your farm. And it could be anything you have a graphic for, but I think they should be whatever's visually distinct. It would be great if I could put these things next to each other. Oh, that works? You can drag them left, but you can't drag them right. All right, so let's just, I think it's good to start with 5 of these. So let's see which 5 we can find that are good. Let's say that tomato plant, because those look like tomatoes. We don't use the same graphic for apples, do we? I can't tell. Is that the same? I still can't tell. I could just look at it in the spreadsheet. Let's just take a picture of this. Take a proper picture of this. I think they're different. I don't know. No, they're not different. Or if they are, they're like very, very slightly different. New game looks good. Thanks. Thanks, Yoshi. Okay, so yeah, let's say tomatoes are one of them. I want 4 more plants. I think a pumpkin can be another one. We don't have a watermelon. I think a watermelon would have been nice. We do have, what, some kind of berry. I guess those are grapes. potatoes. Maybe they have different growing cycles too. Carrots, I think carrots would be good. Do we have a carrot graphic? Yes, we do. Peppers. So how about carrots, peppers, and we need one more. Could be corn, could be a turnip. Kind of like the idea of the turnips. Potatoes, I don't like farming potatoes in a game. Just don't think it's that interesting. I guess if we're really just looking for uniqueness here, we just want something else that we have a custom graphic for. Yeah, I guess these berries would be nice. What should they grow on though? The A vine? Isn't that what tomatoes would grow on? This is not what a tomato plant would look like, right? Like, what are these? Did I make my own pixel art? No, I do not. Yeah, peppers makes sense. All right, let's look up grapes, grapevine. Do they look close enough to this? Yeah, they do. All right, then that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna have this be able to grow peppers and also be able to grow um, grapes, I think. Yeah. Okay, so those are our 5 crops that we're gonna have. Let's write that down so I don't forget them. Crops we should go with at first are tomato, pumpkin, carrot, pepper, grapes. Yeah, hey leftist. Also hi Ian. Okay, the next thing we need to do is figure out how we're gonna render their growing cycles. So I think it's best to just make an animation for each of these and then just switch to a specific frame. So let's go take a look at that. Figure out how we want to do the crop growth. Hang on one second. Okay. Uh, I think we can do an animation with each maturity level in its own frame. Ghosts. Gotta be careful. All right, so let's make an animated sprite. And then, unfortunately, these are part of different sprite sheets, I think. Like the tomato one's all part of the same one. But if I'm going to do the grapes growing on this vine, then we've got to pull them from 2 different sprite sheets. Okay, let's take a look. We could put them on the same sprite sheet if that's a problem. I don't think it is. We have the plant graphics, right? Farm plants 1. I'm going to need... I'm probably going to need this. Right, there are carrots. There's the pumpkin. Yeah, I'm going to need power plants 2 at least. Farm plants 3 so that we can grow the carrots. And farm plants 4 so that we've got the grapes. So an animation player that controls it. Yeah. Yeah. We can have different components to this thing. I was just thinking, like, some of these, this has what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the fully grown one. So 7 different graphics. And it starts as a pole instead of starting as a seed. Yeah. So we got to take that into account. All right, let's copy all these things and put them over here. Where does this go? Farming. Okay. Okay, so first we want this one. This is not the right size. What is this, 16 by 16? It's actually 16 by 32. That's going to be annoying. Oh, and there's separation of what, 2 pixels? Okay, so they're all of our frames, but then we need a frame of this final one, but then the fruit also shows up. So yeah, there's going to be 2 different forms of doing this stuff. I don't like that. Could also just make a graphic that has the final thing here with the grapes on it. That might be better. No, but you'd want to be able to pick just the fruit off of it. So actually, we shouldn't render these tiny peppers here. Man. Yeah. But then I guess something like the turnips would look different because you're just plucking them out of the ground. Yeah. Same thing with carrots. So the growth graphic is the final graphic, basically. There are 2 kinds of crops. One's where there's a plant and then the fruit, e.g. the grapes. You show the vine, the pole, the vine growing, then show a grape sprite on top and pick that when you harvest. And then ones where the plant is the output, e.g. a carrot. You show it growing in the ground. Then when you click it, it pops out of the ground as a full carrot. So now we should be able to add in a fruit sprite. But anyway, let's just try adding in something from a different sprite sheet. It should be fine, right? I know this isn't going to make any sense. But yes, that does work. Okay, so then how do you go to a specific frame? Animated sprite 2D. Just go to any code we have. Why is it so hard to find a CS file? Here it is. Animated sprite. Oh, ASC.sprite. Frame. Oh, nice. Yeah, you can set the frame number. Displayed animations frames index. Setting this property also resets frame progress. Okay. Yeah. All right. I think we should be able to do that then. And I think we just go through the animation until it's done and then show the fruit appearing on the final frame, I guess. Is there anything else I want to do with that? I don't think so. So the vine will eventually just show a grape appearing on it. Yeah. And then we'll have an outline for that we do through a shader. So we don't need to use the outlines that they have. And you pick it, and then what should happen to the plant? This just disappears, I guess. What should happen to the vine when you picked the grapes? Option 1, it sticks around and can keep producing. This would imply the need to be able to demolish it at some point. Option 2, it disappears and you plant something else. I am leaning toward number 2 because we don't have, I don't want to make it so you have to clear the land out every time. So the one, you'd have to refertilize it. I don't know. Yeah, I guess so. I guess it depends on what kind of plant we have. Well, this is kind of interesting because I think this has game design implications. Like, there may be some trade-off of which crops you plant. Right now, it's random, but what if you could pick, or what if there was a way of selling these crops and there were certain crops that were desired? I don't think I like any of that, though. I think we're just going to go with option number 2. Make the crop fully disappear when harvested. And the market is empty. we can do this. So we would have many different animations inside of one animated sprite. Okay, so add animated sprite with all of the different crop animations. Then add a, like a, I'll just add a fruit, I guess, sprite that may or may not be used based on the type of crop. And then make 2 subscenes. So what scene do we call the base thing? Like, I guess just crop. Yeah. Then make 2 subscenes. So these are going to be the 2 different kinds of crops. What do we call these? There's one where there's like a tree or something that grows and the fruit is on the tree. And then there's one where the crop is just the output. Are there English words for these? I guess there probably are. Maybe like crop on plant and crop is fruit. I don't know. Out of curiosity, if you search for turnip, does it say a thing that's going to make this more obvious? No, I have no idea. Okay, let me try ChatGPT here. What do you call a plant like a carrot where the entire plant is what you harvest as opposed to a grapes where the vines stick around? All right, ChatGPT, what do you call it? Annual crops or root crops? Whole harvest crops? That's not bad. I kind of like that. I don't know if that's even the right thing, but yeah, that'd be good. I know they're root vegetables, but there are other plants that you grow that aren't just in the ground and they're the whole plant that you harvest, right? Or are those all root vegetables? Like wheat, I guess. Yeah, I'm gonna call it a whole harvest crop. I like that though. So we'll say whole harvest crop and fruiting crop. How's that? Yeah. So this adds in a fruit sprite. And this would have an outline on it. This has the outline on the animated sprite itself. Okay. Well, I'm happy with the naming. I think this is good. All right, so let's go make those scenes. We're gonna call this crop. And yeah, we have an animated sprite. It's gonna have all the things in it. Let's just save this for now before I forget. Town, farm, crop. What about peas or beans? Beans would be a fruiting crop, right? I don't actually know how peas are grown. They're grown like this. So this would also be a fruiting crop. Yeah. Hey, Jackus. All right, so we have an animated sprite. Do we need anything else on here? Sprite wouldn't exist. exist. Okay, so then we need to call this, let's call this vine, I guess, and delete that one. Then what else do we need? Because we said we have, so peppers and grapes are going to say are vine plants. Tomato plant is going to use that little tree thing, which tomatoes really should be on a vine as well, right? Tomato plant. I guess it could kind of look like a tree. It's not like they have bark. Right? This is, do those look like tomatoes to people? Because I think that's what's throwing me off here. These look like tomatoes. But maybe we say they're really tiny apple trees. Maybe we just use this blue thing so that it's just something made up. I like fruiting crop. Fruit is a verb in addition to being a noun. Yeah. Produce fruit typically at a specified time. All right, well, let me ask this. Is this a convincing tomato plant then? If you saw a plant grow like this and then this and then this, and then it turned into this, would you be like, yeah, okay, those are tomatoes? Because I'm just not convinced by the background of this. Very yes. Okay. Then cool. Let's just do that. All right, so the tomato plant has the, I'm going to just write tree here. Pumpkin and carrots are the whole harvest variety. So the only thing we need is the tree now. Okay, so let's add in the, I'm going to call this tomato tree, which is perhaps the dumbest name I've ever made. And we're going to pull that from here. And we're going to get this, this, and this. And then there should be a fourth one somewhere in here. Where is it? This. Yeah. Okay. There should be no animation looping. Actually, doesn't matter if it loops or not because we're not going to have these turned on by default. Pumpkins are not a whole harvest crop. Do not care. We are saying it for the sake of this. Yeah. Yeah, I think we're saying it for the sake of this. I'm not sure. We'll probably have to tweak this a bit as we play around with it. Oh, also, some of these should start as a seed, right? I guess the tomato plant should start as a seed. So we need to add a frame in here. There's a seed graphic here. It's technically any of these. Oh, man. All right, and I guess some of this stuff starts as a seed and some doesn't. Like the vine thing doesn't, but this does. And I'd like to randomize it, but that's not worth doing. So let's just plant it as any one of these things. And then move this back to here. Okay. Seeds can have their own animation. You can choose a random frame. Yeah. And I can eventually do that, I think. Can you see seeds on top of the soil? I'm not sure, but we'll probably change the soil graphic as well. Let me write this here. Polish. Consider using a random seed graphic. There we go. There was one other thing I needed to consider. Oh yeah, that's right. That crop has these animated sprites, but these aren't actually what's needed. It's the whole, or wait, it's the fruiting crop that needs this thing. So maybe this was not smart. Maybe just crop should be the root and then everything else should define its own thing in there. Yeah, probably. Okay, I mean, it's easy enough to do that. So can we cut this and put it in any other new scene now? Yes, good. Okay, so that's just crop. Now we're going to go instantiate from crop. We're going to call this whole harvest crop. Save that as whole harvest crop. And then we're going to do the same thing and make a fruiting crop. Then this goes into the fruiting kind. Yeah, we can close out of this. Okay, then we also need a fruit graphic in here. I guess we could do it the same way we just did the other one, which is just have all the different graphics inside of an animated sprite and pick the right one. alternatively, we could just manifest the region that we want for this and make it a sprite 2D. Yeah, I like that idea. Fruit. This is going to be the, what'd you call this? Like plant structure? Plant? Yeah, there we go. I like that. Plant. Decided to just go with seeds for everything. Yeah, I don't think I've played a lot of farming games. I think the way Stardew did this is you planted seeds for everything, and then whatever plant structure there was just like kind of sprouted overnight and didn't really make a lot of sense. Or maybe you did plant the trellises for things like this. I'm not sure. But either way, I don't think it's going to matter too much as long as this is convincing. So plant, fruit, we got those. Now we need the whole harvest crop to have its animations. And its animations are going to be this. I guess it starts as a seed and grows into a pumpkin. What else do we have? Carrots were the other one. Where are the carrots? Oh, we could use this. Or this. You grow 2 carrots at a time. I'm torn on this. I feel like this is the most convincing carrot graphic. But then the problem is we don't have a carrot that comes out of that. We only have these tiny ones here. And I'm not even sure those look like carrots. Yeah, no, we don't have anything else. Are there any graphics I forgot? Nope. Unless it's in here. It is not. Bubble. Watering. Farm plants. Yeah, no, we don't have anything else. Huh. Maybe we shouldn't use carrots then? I just think it would look weird to have a graphic that's this big and then you harvest it and it turns into a graphic that's only this big. You could do the farming like my RL plants, planting and not caring for 2 weeks. Do liters of water and then new plants. The War Eagle method. My players plow the fields, then plant the seeds and then water. Then the plants grow over time, and the seed they use designates the size of the grow and the texture used. Gotcha. Yeah. Hey, Trackley. Okay, so I'm just not convinced on the carrot graphic. I think it'd be disappointing to plant a carrot that's how many pixels tall? Like presumably because this would go into the earth like 24. Is that what that was? Yeah, and then when you get the carrot out of it, it would be like 12 pixels tall. Mm, I'm not sure. Hey Don, how's it going? Hey Zinka. Zinka, I keep looking for your stream and I can't find it. I know you said Mondays, but I never see it on Mondays. Welcome in, Raiders. Hey, Krasner, and thank you, Don, for the raid. Found the players like the oversized carrot growing texture. Are you using the same sprites as me? Because, yeah, we can do this. Hey, Gandalf. For anyone new here, we're working on a game called Skeleseller, and we're trying to add in the farming system. So far, this is all we have. It's not functional yet. So there's a farmland, and there's some rocks on it. And there's this thing, which is the seed maker. And when this is on, your workers will automatically bring potions into the seed maker, which will get converted into seeds and planted on your land. It's not doing that yet, but that's what we're working on now. Gonna go eat. Oh, yeah. Take care, Don. Thanks for the raid. Created your own. Gotcha. I have carrot growing animations in my game, which is similar. It feels pretty fine. Okay, yeah. Yeah, then I think we'll do that. So this is one of the new systems that we've added. The last new system we added was fishing, and it's very different from how other games do this. So we also have this machine here. This is called the extractor. This is where you bring potions and have them turn into fish eggs. So if they bring, well, they'll need to bring a lot of potions there, so I'll just make a bunch of these. So if we have a bunch of workers here, it says you have 2 fish, max of 3, and now there are 3. So we see our 3 fish in the pond, and the way you get these fish is by battling your pond. So you actually go start a fight with the pond and defeat the fish that you're going to catch, and they don't fight back. So it's just a way of using the battle system that's already in the game and the party system, and making it so that you catch your food. In both of these systems, you are getting a like meta resource that you use to improve your stats. So fishing is going to improve your fortitude, which is like armor. Health is going to be through the farming system. Power is going to be through the tavern and doing quests. And then the final thing is skill points. You're going to find those as rare drops. Playtest with realistic size and oversized growing carrots. I found players prefer the oversized growing. Okay, yeah. Yeah. So hopefully by the end of today, we've got some basic like crops growing over here. We're just getting started on the whole picking which sprites we're using and how to make them look like they're growing correctly. So our whole harvest crop also needs an animated sprite here. Animated sprite. We give it our sprite frames and then we add in two different things. So we have what? Carrot. We have pumpkin. And is that everything? So tomato, pumpkin, carrot, peppers, grapes, vines, the tree, whole harvest. Yeah, that's everything. All right, so now let's get the right graphics for these. The carrot comes from here. Yeah. Oh, and it should start as a seed, right? Okay, well, let's add these in. And then let's add in the seed graphic. Just pick that one. And then put that at the beginning. Okay, so there's our carrot. If we grow it in real time here, that's what it'll look like. It looks like it's offset by a little bit. Why is that? Huh, I don't know. Oh well. We can always just reposition it. Okay, so there's the carrot. The pumpkin now. Let's get the seed. Take that one. And then the pumpkin graphic itself. Pumpkin comes from not here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's pretty good. Cool. There's our pumpkin graphic. Oh, it's pretty convincing. All right, great. So I think we've done pretty much everything we need to do there. This needs an atlas texture and it needs the right sprite sheet. Oh, wait a second. The sprite sheet, they're in different sprite sheets, aren't they? These are going to be for tomatoes, peppers, and grapes. Where's the standalone tomato graphic? Yeah, it's not here. Are they all in this one? There it is. There's the... No, there's no grapes here. It's peppers. So we need two different sprite sheets. Oh, well. Fine. I made a prefab like a component for a harvestable crop. Lets you pass in a list of growth stages. Min-max growth duration. Yeah, it's pretty similar. The thing I wanted to have be slightly different here is how they fade in or out. So there are fruiting crops that have a plant structure to them. So for example, they might have this tree showing. Hang on, let me try to get the pause on the last one. Yeah, so they have this tree showing, and then they have the fruit graphic, which will show on top of this. Whereas there are whole harvest crops like a carrot, which does not leave something in the ground when it's done. I think we should just put all these in the same atlas. Yeah, I think it's a good idea. Especially because there is a bunch of blank space, right? Okay. So let's take these. And we just got to make sure to align these the same way. I'm going to put this here. All right, how about we just look at the original alignment? Where was that? Here. Okay, so the upper leftmost filled in, well, the upper leftmost pixel's right there, and that was at 50, 1. Oh, wait, but do these have spacing between them? Because these are all 16 by 16, right? Yes, and they don't have spacing between them. This is just the next 16 by 16. Yeah, okay, perfect. So this probably started at 48. So the first pixel being here means that we put it 1 down and 2 over. Yeah, 1 down and 2 over. We're going to do the same thing here. This is 0, 16, 32, 48. So pretty much the exact same coordinate, right? 50, yep. And then 1 down would be at 33. So we need to move this 1 pixel up. There we go. Now it should be exactly the same. Buy the grapes blue. Blue grapes. I mean, this is, I know, I know that they're technically purple grapes when they're in the grocery store, but they are kind of just blue, right? Yeah, I don't think this looks that unusual to me. But I also don't mind changing the color to make it more purplish, I guess. Okay, so now we need to export this, but we need to export it as the one in Skeleseller. So where is that? I would love for this to just be a native dialogue because I don't know how to get to this otherwise. Can you do this? Can't even paste it? Whoops. What? Okay, fine. Nope, it just disappeared. What happened? What, the dialogue is gone. I can't see it anymore. What? It's not showing up anymore. I click export as, and it's just gone. That's weird. And command backtake isn't doing anything. I just can't save this anymore. I guess I can overwrite the original one. I didn't want to do that though. All right, I'm going to do that so I don't have to redo this work. All right, so now farm plants 2 should have the grapes in them. Yeah, good. Let's take those. Put those over here. All right, so fruiting crop, we have just 1 sprite sheets needed now. And that's going to be farm plants 2. Good. Then make it a 16 by 16. And we'll pick a slightly different one just so it's obvious that this is here. We'll pick the blue one. That should be fine. 16. Cool. All right. Not bad. So now crop should have its own script. Source, scene scripts, scenes. I think I should probably make a farming folder in here. All right, create that. So where's this thing exist? Namespace. Yep, I knew what it was. Okay, so we have the basics of this. We made the scene. We have these 2 things. I haven't finished making that. We need to go plant the seeds first, which I guess is not really planting seeds anymore. It's just making a crop and then picking an animation, and the first frame is always going to be a seed, or I guess that pole. Which is going to look a little strange. You're going to plant some of these, you're going to see a vine, like a pole for a vine, but no seeds planted there. Should we overlay a seed on top of this, I wonder? I don't think so. I think it's probably assumed that it was planted in the ground. It was there when you show all windows. Oh, yeah. But it's not showing. Okay. It was. Huh. Something weird had happened there. It like didn't show up even on my other monitor until I dragged it. All right. So yeah, not plant a seed at first. Let's go manifest the crop data. Let's do this like how we do for item data. Or what else? What was the last data that we made? Like quest data, spell data? Yeah, something like this is fine. Do we have a farming folder? Nope. Yep, we don't. All right, let's make one. So this will be called crop data. Yeah. All right, this changes to farm. All right, so what's in the crop data? seed graphic, mature plant graphic, food value, base chance to be chosen. Let's ignore the chance to be chosen part for now and just make it be 20%. The food value should be in here for sure. And then which scene we pull from, like how you make this thing, I think should be in there. So in food value. And then we need to know what scene to pull from here. It could just be a reference to a scene path, but then we'd also need to know which animation to set for these things. Or like, I guess that would just be the crop type. I'd like that data to just be there though. No, yeah, we'll pick the fruit region. So I guess there are two different kinds of crop data. There's the fruiting kind and the whole harvest kind. Just debating on how I want to do this. Either way, we're going to need an animation name for the plant. I guess let's call this plant. Yeah. So string plant animation name. We're going to need a scene to pull from, but that's going to be based on the crop type that we have. Can we make something that... Also, why is this serializable? We didn't do this for every kind of data, did we? I'm not even sure why we did this for spell data, unless we're explicitly saving spell data somewhere. We're not? Were we ever? Data, spell data. I don't know why that's there. Huh. I wonder if we deleted it, if anything bad would happen. Well, we're going to delete it. We're going to hope that nothing bad happens. I might regret that at some point. I don't know, though. So crop data, this is... Yeah, I wonder if it was taken for something else, too. Item data would be the only one I would think would need it. I guess if we just search for public read-only record struct and then click open in editor so that we can then search for serializable. There's one there and one there. Quest data. Does quest data get stored somewhere? We should see it in a save data thing and we don't. I don't think even that needs to be serializable. Let's delete it. We'll find out if that was a mistake later. All right, whole harvest crop data. Can we have this extend crop data? Is that possible? Unexpected argument list. I wonder how you're supposed to do this. C# struct inheritance. I want to see what this thing's going to say. Can one struct inherit from another? Structure type can't inherit from other class or structure type, and it can't be the base of a class. Okay, well, we could make optional parameters here. Yeah, we could make optional parameters here. Like I could have the scene name here, scene name or scene path. And then what do we need? Oh yeah, fruiting crops are gonna have a fruit data. So I guess we could put something like fruiting crop data question mark fruiting crop data and set that equal to null by default and then make a fruiting crop one here. I don't know how I feel about this. And then this one would just have some some data for the rectangle, rect to fruit rect. Yeah. Yeah, something like that. Okay. All right, so now we save this inside of here and we say crop ID. So crop IDs are going to be the 5 that we had, which are tomato, pepper, pumpkin, grape. What was the last one? Carrot. Call this crop ID. Change enchanter to farm. Grape has the same value as pumpkin. Not anymore. Okay, so now all crop data takes in a crop ID and then has crop data there. Crop ID dot. What order are these in? Tomato, pepper, pumpkin, grape, carrot. Let's just alphabetize them for now. Carrot, grape, pepper, pumpkin, tomato. Okay, now they're in the exact wrong order. So check this out. You can say 6 minus this, and we put them in the right order. All right, anyway, so carrot's the first one. What do we need out of this? A food value. This we can just make up. Let's say 5. Plant animation name, carrot. I better have named it carrot. I probably didn't. It's a fruiting crop, so technically it's vine. No, wait, no. It's a whole harvest crop. What am I talking about? Plant animation should be carrot. Yeah, it is. All right, scene path. It's going to be this. Show in file system, copy path. Chronotype scene enumeration. Yeah, I really should switch to that method that you mocked up a while ago. I keep thinking I want to test this stuff and not I want to spend half a day changing all our enumerations. All right, then what? Fruiting crop data. This is not a fruiting crop, so we can set that to null. All right, there's the carrot. Now we fill in the rest of these. I'm just going to press enter on these and just let it fill it in for me. It's probably going to be wrong, but I don't care. All right, grapes. How much should grapes be worth in terms of food compared to carrots? I don't know. Sure, 10. Probably should have chosen different crops if we were going to have them be wildly different food values. Maybe like carrot should be 2 and grape should be 4 and pepper should be 3. Pumpkin should probably be quite a lot, 10. Tomato, I don't know. I want this to be 4. I want grapes to be worth more. Okay. All right, so grapes are a fruiting crop, right? I should probably put these in scene paths before I keep going further. Farm, whole harvest crop and fruiting crop. Whole harvest crop and fruiting crop. Okay. I'll place all these. Scene paths dot whole harvest. All right. And before I forget here, what do we have in terms of whole harvest? It's just carrot and pumpkin. So grape, pepper, and tomato. All right. Now all the ones that are fruiting crops need the data here. It's new rect 2, yeah. Let's just copy this. And that's already set. All right, now we need to get their actual squares for these. This is at 0, 16, 32, 32, 0. So tomato is at 32, 0. the pepper. Let's take green peppers, I guess. How do those look? Yeah, the red peppers are more visible. I think let's go with the red pepper then. All right, red pepper is at 112. Yeah, 112. And the grapes I put here at 48.32. Green peppers are disgusting. Like even bell peppers for you? I feel like all the bell peppers taste the same to me. Maybe that's controversial. I don't really notice a difference. So wrong. Yep, apparently. All right, get from the crop ID, crop ID. Yellow, red, and orange are way better than green. Maybe I'd feel the same way if I tasted the difference. I wonder, I guess the only time I've ever had them side by side and individually is when I'm dipping them in something. Yeah, because I've had multiple colored peppers and things, but I'm not usually picking them apart, and they're not usually alone. Like usually there's some kind of sauce or I don't know, noodles or something. You never noticed distinct flavors. Huh. Those are hyacinths though. Are they actually the same pepper? Yeah, different levels of ripeness, I think. All right, have we filled all this out? I think so. Yeah. Anything else we want to manifest here? Seed graphics, crops we should go with first are these. Yeah, nice, done. Okay, when a potion is brought, it'll be converted into a seed and automatically planted in a random plot. All right, so we need the concept of farm plots now. I should probably take a break before we continue on. Yeah, so where I left off, we need the concept of farm plots so that we can get an available plot. I'll figure the rest of this out after the break. Yeah, I'll be right back. Is it jump time? I asked you a question, computer. Is it jump time? It's jump time. Thank you, computer. Okay, you know the drill. You can type join and have fun competing against each other. I'll be back in just a couple minutes, and then we'll work on farm plots. Hi again. Close the game. I wonder if we should make bot players for that. Because I notice fewer and fewer people are playing, which, by the way, is why I got rid of Animal Royale in the lunch breaks. But it's, I don't know. I, I think stream interactive games are in a weird spot in terms of interest packed into a small amount of time. I love Jump. Well, I'm glad you find it fun. I just, it's not even like there needs to be a large player base. I need to take breaks and something needs to happen while I'm on a break. I just wonder if it should be something like playing a clip or a trailer or whatever, something that's not interactive. People join and just watch. I like the idea of rooting for somebody when you're watching people play and the idea that there can be mistakes. Okay, so farm plots. What does a plot need to hold? A plot needs to hold a crop, and that's pretty much it. So it's either empty or filled. Did I write anything about this here? They're either empty or have a plant, and the plants have their own states. Hovering over an empty plot will do something. Yeah. Hey, Luigi. Play stream games if it wasn't command-based, but that's the opposite of a stream game. You could have a stream game that's not command-based. You all go to a website or something, and then the stream is just showing you a view of that game. But at that point, I feel like it's not really a stream game. It's just a game that happens to be streamed, which maybe is what you're kind of saying there. The duplicate message is saying you can get around by typing, like let's say you want to type U twice in a row, you can type U and then just any garbage afterward. Any of this stuff should work and it's all the same. So yeah, I'd usually just type like an A or a 1 or something afterward. Well, I guess you can't type a 1, but like A or B or C. So I think that's all a crop is. Oh, and it has a position. So it's like an item display in that sense. Yeah, I think it's pretty reasonable. Okay. So is there anything else we need in terms of this? So this is going to be a plot or a farm plot, I guess. And then it's just going to contain the plant underneath it. Do we need to do anything else? We might need clickable areas and stuff. I think that's kind of it. Okay, so let's save this inside of here, farm plot. And let's go give it a script. Nope, that's not good. Source, town, farm plot. All right, give ourselves a namespace here. So the first thing we need is the concept of whether it's empty. And we need a way of setting the crop. Public crop. I think you should be able to set this from the outside as well. Maybe not. Get private set. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what we want to do for this yet. I wanted to import this. Namespace can't be found. Shouldn't there be a using here for this? Yeah, there it is. I just clicked the wrong thing. And this can be nullable, and it is null by default. Okay, we do not have scripts for these things, do we? Maybe I added them. No, I didn't. Okay, these need their own scripts. So there's whole harvest crop, and there is fruiting crop. Yep, fruiting crop. These both extend from crop. Okay, we're getting there. So when you drop off a potion, it should plant a random seed. I do not want to have to drop off potions all the time. So what I'm going to do is make it so that when you click, I don't know, when you press a key on your keyboard. Yeah, when you press page up, it'll plant a seed. So let's do that. So farm, unhandled info, we don't have. Let's go get it from town. Just copy paste this over to the farm. All right, so instead of cancel, when you type page up, it's going to plant a seed. There is no plant seed. So let's say, I'll just call this debug plant seed for now, because I might want to delete it afterward. All right, now private void debug plant seed. Answers. Making a farming sim in Unity, so watching this is fun. Yeah, and you're getting a taste of the Godot way of doing things, I guess, but it's just a taste because I do a lot of things through scripts anyway. Yeah, I'll twitch that. So in this case, we need to know that you have an empty plot. And this is going to be, we need to track all of the plots that you have. We're going to do this sort of like how the warehouse does things. So let's just copy how that does it. I think we just store a list of item displays. Is that correct? Where is it? I don't see it. Yeah, I don't see it. Oh, it's inside the node, and what, we fetch them from the node every time? Ooh, I don't like that. I'm actually kind of surprised that I did this. Because this is something that should probably be cached rather than fetching every single child all the time. It's not a big deal. But yeah, we shouldn't do this. All right, well, I think then for the farm, we're just going to keep track of a list of plots. And this is what we do for something like shop component, right? That was a collection. I'll just store it as a list. It doesn't make a difference. I mean, not a big difference. Yeah, it kind of does. Okay, fine. I'll store it as a collection. And this can be private. So private collection, farm plot, plots. Yeah. Okay, we need to import generic collections. Farm plot also needs to be imported. Okay, so when you build the farm, it starts with 4 plots, and they're arranged like, well, they're always arranged like a square, I guess. Oh, this is going to be a little bit annoying, right? Because the plots that you get that are new are added in a particular order. So this really should be a list. And yeah, I think this is going to be a little bit tedious to set up. Because like I said, if you picture that you have a grid, the order we're going to fill this grid is going to be like this. 0, 1, 2, 3. When it's 2 by 2. So this is how we'll fill it. And then when it gets to be 3 by 3, we don't want to rearrange the existing plots. So we need to put the new ones like this in this ring on the outside here. 6, 7, 8. Which is going to make it a nightmare when you're finally looking through these. I wonder if this means we shouldn't store them this way, and the plots should be identified by fetching their grid positions. Collection of tuples with the coordinates. Yeah, like a plot has a grid X and a grid Y, and that way they can be in any order, and we can still find the right one. Let me think about this. Yeah, that's probably a smarter idea, which means that this could be a collection again. And then I guess we just tell the farm plot it's like grid coordinates. We have a grid info component. And yeah, it just has a vector 2i. I think that makes sense. This should be set. Should be private set. Maybe a dictionary from coordinates to plot. Not sure which one is more ergonomic. Yeah, I think this will be clearer after we start to use this. So when we initialize this, we're going to pass in a vector 2i grid position. And then set that here. Is empty is going to be, it's going to be actually true by default. I wonder if we should have made that is filled. Or is occupied. Yeah, is occupied. Let's do that. Is occupied. Oh yeah, I don't need a semicolon now. Let's close everything else we have open here. Doesn't the optional crop already cover it? Yes. So we'll just make a public bool is occupied, return crop is not null. Oh, except for I probably used is empty somewhere. Has empty plot. Has available plot. Is this used from somewhere? It is, yeah. Yeah, I don't know what I want to do for that yet. Okay, so when you initialize this thing, we've got to put in 4 different plots. Let's at least do that. So like create initial plots. We're going to end up refactoring some of this stuff eventually. Okay, so we want 4 to begin with. So constant initial num plots equals 4. And they're arranged in a 2x2 square. So maybe what we should say is like initial farm size equals 2 in terms of plots per side. And then for int x equals 0, x is less than initial farm size, x plus plus, same thing for y here. And then add in a plot, except for we can't do this way, because we need to initialize it. Farm plot equals new. You can't do that either, can you? Because farm plot is a scene. It's a scene, yeah, so then let's do it that way. Farm plot. All right, now there should be an instantiate function here. There isn't? Huh. Well, let's just search for scene paths, not something then. And eventually figure out where we instantiate these things. Here it is. All right, do this on the farm. Farm plot equals scene functions dot instantiate with the farm plot scene. Cool. Okay, then we add this here. And we initialize it with the new grid position like that. Okay, so plots exist. They are not positioned in the correct spots though. And this we got to be a little bit careful about how we set the position here, because this is going to be a new vector 2 of, let's say, like x times 17, y times 17 for now. I'm going to make constants out of that. But let me see. Where are we positioning this? Because the farm itself is just here. So we need to figure out where we want the plots to start. So maybe we put a node like right there. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Node 2D plots node. Plots node. All right, private node 2D plots node equals null. We go get this from ready plots node. That's where we're going to add these things. And then I guess also add it to plots, yeah. This is add child. All right, so its position is just going to be based on we need some like distance between nodes. Vector 2i read only static distance between plots. And I'm going to set this to what do we say? We wanted 5 plots in 7 tiles. So let me think about that. We normally have what, 80 pixels that we want in, wait, why did I say 80? Oh, because 5 times 16 versus what, 7 times 16? So 112 and 112 pixels. So we have 4 spaces. So it's 32 divided by 4. So 8, yeah. All right, so 8, 8. And I'm hoping that looks good, but maybe we want this to be smaller. I don't know. Let's not worry about that yet. So it's going to be new x, y times the distance. Cannot be applied to operand new int. Because this needs to be a vector 2. Can we just cast that? I don't think you'd be able to do this. And I don't think this works anyway, right? We need to multiply it by just if I just say 8 here, does that work? Wait, what? Can vectors not be multiplied by? Oh, weird. Okay, that does work. I thought, wait, yeah, why didn't new work for that? Shouldn't it know that that's a vector 2 I was making? I shouldn't need to write that there. Why do I need to? Huh. I don't actually understand why this is a problem. But okay, sure. All right, so what have we done so far? We have the plots. The plots don't have anything on them. I guess it can't infer the type because I have more stuff there. So it doesn't know what I'm trying to... Okay, yeah. Yeah, I see. Because it doesn't know what I'm looking for as a result out of this. Yeah, that makes sense. No, it knows what I'm looking for as a result. It doesn't know what the intermediate thing would be. Okay. So we got the initial farm size. We got the plots. The plots don't have anything on them. So let's just draw something on them. Just to make this clear that this is at least working. So let's just take literally any texture. We'll take, sure, pencil. Doesn't matter. The only thing is it needs to be 16 by 16. Well, then let's just take a 16 by 16 texture. Sure, farm plants. Okay, region enabled. 16 by 16. Is that something? Yep, that's something. Cool. So there we go. Now let's try running this. Hopefully it builds. So all that should happen is we should see 4 of those green tomatoes on our farm spaced out by something that hopefully makes sense. That's not quite working. It should be X, Y times the size of the graphic. Because the distance between plots, the plot itself needs some size. Maybe I should have just increased this. Oh, also I never moved the node. I just forgot to do that. This should be at, let's try 32, 32. No, that's too far. 16 by 16. It's probably good. So what's going to happen here? It's going to do 2 times 1.4, so 2.8 tiles. Do we have 2.8 tiles? I guess that's like 1, that's like 2. We probably don't. I don't know. Let's just run this and see what happens. Yeah. Okay, that's pretty close to what I want. I think maybe we bump this down a little bit more. Yeah. I think so. Maybe just to like 24, 24. Might be too much. Maybe 20, 20. Maybe we could just launch this in the game and then see it change in real time. Yeah, that looks good. Okay. So that shows us that the plots are in the right spot. Now we need to be able to plant a seed on that crop. So instead of doing this, we're going to get an available plot. So farm plot available plot equals, there we go. Collection does not contain definition for find. It should be where, and even then, yeah, I think changing it to first or default is best. So if there is no plot, then we can't plant a seed. If it's null, just return. If there is a plot, then we need to mark that it's occupied. So we're going to make a scene here, and then we're going to add it to the crop or the plot, which we don't have a way of doing this. Yeah, it has a private set. Okay, cool. So we'll do the plant crop. Let's take in the crop ID and nothing else and have this thing figure it out. Implement this. So we'll just take the plot and call plant. And this is tomato. Let's have it be random. No, let's always have it be a tomato for now. That way we can test it. Okay, now let's implement the function. So this needs to instantiate a scene based on the crop data. So let's go get the crop data. Crop data equals crop data dot get. I think it's just called get. It's apparently not. I don't know what I called it, but it's at the bottom of this. It is called get, and it's public static. Why does it think? Oh, it's all crop data. Sure. Okay, so get the crop data. Now we need to get, what does this have on it? It has a plant animation name and a scene path. We need both of those things. So let's start with a scene path. This is what we get from here. Crop data, scene path, instantiate. This gives us our crop. We don't need to define this like this. We can just do that. And then we need the animation name. And the crop itself should have a way of setting that. Set plant animation name to that. All right, so now we're getting into needing a script to exist for this. Public. This will only work in the sub scenes that we have because, yeah, crop doesn't contain anything. They both actually have plant in here, but the plants are different. We could have just put all animations in one. Would have been okay. I wonder what I want to do for this then. Let me think about this. No, wait, no, we can't. No, we could. It's just one of these needs an outline because it's a whole harvest crop. So when it does look like a pumpkin, then you need to be able to highlight the pumpkin. Up until that point, it wouldn't be highlighted. So there'd be custom code there to get this thing. But that on its own, I need to think about this. When you code off stream, do you have a dialogue of what you're doing as well, either out loud or in your head? I sometimes talk out loud, yeah. I think that if the majority of the coding I'm doing is while I'm streaming, then I do tend to talk on my own. But if I'm working for a company for long enough, then I stop that outer monologue. Okay, so both kinds of crops have a plant animated sprite 2D. They act a little bit differently though. The whole harvest crop will be outlined and clickable. We just want to set what this thing is. Well, how bad would it be to just have this be a virtual function and each individual thing knows what to do? I guess they're just going to be the same function though, that's why. So maybe what we could do is have it pass in what the plant graphic is. Yeah, I think that's okay. All right, so in ready, let's get protected animated sprite 2D plant sprite. It's going to be get and private set probably. Equals null like that. So in ready, we fetch this thing, which we know happens to exist in both of these paths, but technically crop doesn't know that, which is why this is weird. You know what we could do? We could put it in the root and then make it so that both of these override it with their own animation. That would probably make the most sense. Yeah, that would make the most sense. Let's do that. This might break everything. Yep. Please fix and resave. Yeah. So this is plant. I want that to have these animations. Which, can you even do that? Copy frames. I don't see a copy animation. There's just duplicate. Maybe we could just move the sprite frames over to this thing. And that might work. Copy that and put that over here. Well, would you look at that? We did it. Okay, and then same thing with fruiting crop. The plant goes up here. Can't operate on nodes the currency inherits on. Well, we can move this here then. And then plant 2, this needs the same thing. Copy this over to here and then delete this one. Okay, great. Yeah, great. All right, so how do we do this then? We get the plant sprite and we set its animation equal to the new animation. We, I guess, start it from the beginning, or is that part of setting the animation? Current animation resource, if this value is changed, the counter and the progress are reset. But that's only if it's changed. I mean, I guess technically we should just reset it no matter what. How do you do that? It says reset frame stop. It's stop. Animation position is reset to 0. Yeah, so let's stop it. All right, so all we're going to do is see a seed get planted, right? Because it's going to pick... Wait, will this work? Well, let's just try it. I think it should work. But yeah, I think all we'll see is a seed. And there's no actual growing it yet, but we'll get there. So if I press page up, it breaks immediately. Tomato animation, plant sprite was never added, so we can't do this. Okay, yeah, my bad. This would be part of an init. So how do we do this? Available plot tries planting this. So it instantiates this. I guess we just need to add this first. Yeah. Okay, so now we should be able to plant the seeds with just seeds. Still doesn't work. Plant sprite still doesn't exist. Oh, because we're not calling the parent ready function? No, it should be there. It's possible that this never existed, in which case we'd see an error before that. Yes, we do. Okay, well then that's that problem. And it's because it's called plant and not plant sprite. Easy. Oh, then we don't need the breakpoint over here. All right, progress. Nice. Okay, cool. So why are we seeing tomatoes? Oh, because they're fruiting crops, so the fruit shows up by default. We need to turn that off. And then we should see just the seed, I think. I don't know why we wouldn't see that. But I think the tomato was covering it. No, it's just not showing. Well, that's weird. Animation tomato doesn't exist. Oh, it's called tomato tree. Stupid. I guess let's just call it tree. Yeah. And then we'll change crop data instead of being tomato like this. We'll call it tree. So there should just be tree and vine. What do we actually have? We have, this should be vine. Pepper, what does the pepper grow on? It grows on the vine, yeah. Is that how you grow in real life? Am I an idiot? I think I've actually grown peppers before and I just don't remember it. Pepper plant. I guess it depends on the pepper, maybe. What the heck are these things? We don't have a plan for this? All right, I don't know. I'm not gonna even think about that. This is not a realistic farming simulator. This is Skeleseller. All right, nice. We got our seeds planting now. All right, so now we probably want to be able to grow them, right? So let's simulate the time has passed when you press page up. Or page down, I mean. Can you add the plague? Yeah, let me add that right in. It'll wipe out just banana crops, nothing else. Okay, so what does it mean to grow the crops? This is something that the crop itself would have some time thing and it'd be built in. We could just speed this up actually if we're going to do that. But the way it's going to work is the plant will animate going to the next frame. So let's do that. So this is go through each plot and just do plot.debug grow crop. Actually, we could just call this no matter what, and it'll just know if the crop is null or not. Public, doesn't really matter. This is just a debug function. Okay, so if the crop is null, then don't do anything. Taco Bandit, thanks for the resub. Welcome back. Hope you've stolen a lot of tacos lately. All right, so what does it mean to grow the crop? It means to advance to the next frame of the animation. So crop.animation, well, we can't do that. Because what, the crop itself has a thing? Okay, so fine, crop.debug grow. We're probably not going to want to keep punching through this stuff. But for now, I'm going to do this because I don't know what this is going to look like. On a carnivore diet, so no tortillas. You know how sometimes for trying to be healthy, if you're eating hamburgers, people put them inside lettuce? Can you just wrap everything in meat patties? Very thin, flexible. Actually, lettuce tacos? Yeah, that sounds good. I think the only problem is when the lettuce like cracks and then everything falls through it. But if you have flexible enough lettuce, it should be fine. All right, so debug grow. We're going to advance the plant sprites animation. Frame plus plus. What happens if this goes out of bounds? I guess we won't know. We need to know that this is at the final one. So plant sprite dot, how do you get how many frames there are then? Sprite frames. Frame count? Get frame count. Oh, cool. And that's for what, an animation? Yeah. All right, so this is num frames. Okay, so if the current frame is at maximum, then we'd say ready for harvest. If it's not at maximum, just add one. Let's try that out. Hit XML. Wow, what a nice TED talk. All right, let's try this out. Plant a seed, make it grow, make it grow, make it grow, make it grow. And now it's done and it should say it's ready to harvest. Yeah, so when it's at the max, I guess what it should really do is if it's a fruiting crop, it should show the fruit. Yeah. So debug grow needs to be overridden. Yeah. Okay, let's go do that. Fruiting crop. All right, so override this. So when we get to the number of frames -1, then we actually want to show the fruit. And if the fruit is already showing, then it's ready for harvest. So to do if fruit is not showing, show it. If it is, then it's ready for harvest. Okay, so we don't have the fruit graphic. It's called fruit. Let's go get it. Private animated sprite. I don't know what I made this. It's just a regular sprite now. Sprite 2D. All right, what's it called? Fruit sprite? Sure. Okay, now in ready, let's get the fruit sprite. Come on, you can do it. There we go. So now that it's hidden in code, we don't need to hide it in the scene. And now what we're going to do over here is if it's hidden, show it. Else say that we're ready for harvest. And this is just visible equals false, which I guess we'll do it this way. Okay, how's this look? Yeah, pretty good. We should probably have paid functions and stuff. I'll just do that later. Oh, hey Drew, sorry, I missed your message. When did you send this? 34 minutes ago, my bad. I would if I could play on YouTube. Jump Royale. My bad. I don't usually miss YouTube messages. Okay, why is that showing? It means we probably couldn't find the sprite. But that's not what it looks like happened. Why did that happen? Hmm. That's strange. It's very strange. Now let's put a breakpoint there. Maybe this isn't being hit, although I don't know how that would be possible. We're instantiating the correct scene, I believe. So we do this. No, we're not instantiating the correct scene. Or I forgot to give this script. Okay, that's probably what happened. Yes. Can't tell you how many times I've done this. I will never learn. I don't care what my screen name is on this site. That's the wrong kind of crop. This is a whole harvest crop. All right, that'll fix this. We don't need the breakpoint there because I know this is going to work. Yep, there we go. Okay, so grow, grow, grow. Oh, wait, no, that's plant. Grow, 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 grow. Plant the tomato. And now it should say ready for harvest. Hey, Toulouse. Yeah, ready for harvest. Cool. Yeah, and we can plant the new one. This is so cool. It's so neat to see this come together. I know it took a lot to get here, but yeah, it's looking pretty good. Now, one of the other questions we had is how many how many crops should or how much space should there be between the crops? So let's try this. We're gonna set the farm size to 5. Act like the rocks aren't there. I'm not gonna turn them off. So just yeah, try to ignore them because we're gonna plant on top of them. I should have made it just plant all of them at once. That actually looks pretty good. I think I want to move this up a little bit. I guess they get planted like this. Oh, maybe they should have a shadow when they're... Wait, why do you have a shadow, but you don't? What? Farmer has no shadow, but Guildmaster does? Is it baked into the sprite? No, what? Okay, I know I'm sidetracking myself here, but why is that happening? Where's that shadow coming from? Am I envisioning that? No, that's there. Imagining that I meant. Where is that coming from? Does it get added at runtime? Shadow. The guild has a shadow? We added it in the guild? Or is this a different kind of shadow? Oh my God, no, we did. We put it right there. Wow. Okay, that's not expected. So then we do this for everything? Does the enchanter den have that too? No. Okay, well then we need to make that consistent. I'm glad I noticed it. It does look a little bit out of place there. So the enchanter doesn't cast a shadow. Nope. And none of the other NPCs probably do, but you can't see that they would have cast a shadow, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah. Okay, let's write that down. NPCs don't cast shadows in the same way. The guild master has a shadow in the guild scene itself. The other NPCs just don't, well, the other NPCs like the enchanter and the farmer just don't have shadows. So should the crops have shadows? Does that look, because like I said, ignoring the rocks in the background, this looks a little strange to me. It looks like they're just kind of floating there. I think the shadows would help, and I think they should show up at some point. Maybe not until they're at a certain level of maturity. Let's go to crop and add in a shadow graphic. Where do we get that shadow from though? We get it from the wherever the guild got it from. Where is this? Where does this come from? Shadow.png? We actually have a... Yeah, there it is. Okay, well, let's just copy this and put it in the crop. I don't know which crops want this exactly. This is copied to the same transform. We don't need that. All right, so now everything's gonna have a shadow right from growth stage 1, which is gonna look bad, but I wanna see what it looks like when it's full. A tilde square would also help. I think so. Okay, yeah, that does look good. I put it in the wrong spot. It should go there. So I wonder at what point does it look good? Maybe just when it's fully grown like that. Although, yeah, I think just having the tilled land is probably good enough. Yeah, I think that's probably what we need to do then. That might be hard because I don't think we align these to tile coordinates. I also don't know whether we have obvious like tilled land graphic. An obvious tilled land graphic. Yeah, we do right there. So these would need to be aligned, or else they're gonna look weird. Let's try taking that and putting it in the scene and just seeing how that looks. So we'll add in a sprite 2D. This will be our tilled land. We'll pull in an atlas texture. And this comes from the farm atlas. I don't know how to find this. Oh, I see. There are paths that show up at the bottom. Did I not include this? Huh, I didn't. What? Why didn't I include it? Oh, weird. Okay. I just never put it in. All right, well, where's that come from? Just atlas.png. Okay, now let's go get the atlas. Here it is. Okay, so we want a 16 by 16 graphic that is probably this one or this one of these two. Where is it located? 496.16. 496.16. Yeah, I don't know how this is gonna look. Oh, thanks for trying it out, Answers. Yeah, glad you liked it. Seemed off with the shadow. Yeah, I think something's a little wrong there. This definitely looks wrong. But we can change this. I'll just drag this in the editor. Oh, that's why these are off by some amount, because the plant graphic is much taller than it looks. All right, that's kind of close to what I want. I know it's not still perfect, but yeah, now it looks bad because it doesn't mesh with the tile around it. What do we do? I don't know. We could just say this for a little bit later, but I would need to move this like one down and one to the right, something like that. You know what might help too is if we just had the same style of this tile around it. So there was another set of tile looking or tilled looking things. Oh, this one over here. Yeah, maybe that'd be better. Where's this one located? 170. Wait a second, what? 178? Is that divisible by 16? No. It's 176 that should be, but 176 is. Oh, that is correct. Okay, yeah. 176, 224. Let's try that one. 176, 224. Okay, how do you look? That's better. Yeah. Okay. Obviously, we wouldn't be planting on top of rocks here. Why aren't the fruits showing up? Why aren't they showing up? What did I mess up? Oh, they're showing up in the wrong order. It's funny. Yeah, now I gotta rerun this. Yeah, nice. Cool. Okay, let's go back to our 2x2 farm. Farm size 2. Okay, what have we done? When a potion is brought to the seed maker, it'll be converted into a seed and planted in a random plot. All right, now we can actually connect this without needing debug stuff. So let's go to the seed maker. And quantity to be accepted. Yeah, so this is this is gonna get quote unquote fun. Feel like it was just a week ago you were talking about adding farming. Yeah, I think it was a couple weeks, and we'd only designed it, and we spent a little bit of time redesigning it on Monday. What allowed us to move a little bit faster is this machine was already made as part of the fishing pond, and that was not that easy. Excuse me. So now what we're gonna do is make it so that when this machine gets enough potions, it plants seeds for you. And this is, like I said, this is going to be possibly not all that fun. But we got to do it. Let's close out all these tabs we have open. And then open up the item machine, open up the extractor. And, oops, wrong one. Extractor. Minus allowing for overflow. It should be pretty much the same as the extractor, because the fishing pond has a maximum number of fish, just like how this has a maximum number of plants. So it should be practically identical. Okay, so we got to figure out how much does it cost to get a seed? And I guess how much does it cost compared to a fish? So a fish costs 50 gold right now. Let's start it at just 3. But obviously we want to balance that at some point. So base item value per seed. Like I said, let's start at 3. Or maybe something that can overflow a bit. Let's say 2. Okay, then item value per thing. We had an efficiency multiplier for this. We're probably gonna have one of those for the farm as well. Is that written down here? We actually don't. No, we don't. So that would mean that crops always cost the same amount no matter what. That's okay. Let's do that then. All right, so here we got the base item value and then multiplied it by our efficiency thing. We don't need that here. All right, let's keep going. Max fish value allowed. This is probably going to be a thing that we need. Let's put this here. This is going to be max seed value allowed, I guess. So this needs to take the farm's plots, the number of available plots. Because this is saying the number of fish that we could still have. So the farm needs to have a way of returning how many empty plots there are. So how about we just make a public int num empty plots and get the ones that aren't occupied, and then just get rid of this. Make read only, sure. Maybe adding a dirt pile in front of the plat. I'm not sure what that's supposed to be. At the base would help with the appearance. Oh, the plot. And the front of the plot at the base would help the appearance, something like the plant bases in this sprite sheet. Oh, I see what you're saying. I think for some of these it would look good. Maybe it would look good for all of them. I'm not sure. I think in just the seed form, I'm not sure I would like it. But I want to keep an eye on this as we develop this, because right now we're still working on basic functionality, but eventually we will get to the point where it's like, okay, this obviously we can't have a crop rendering on top of a rock, and we need a way of clearing that stuff out. So I do want to keep an eye on that. Field should not follow property. I have to sneeze. Man, it's so hard to announce sneezes and then still sneeze. I did not sneeze. Very dissatisfied now. Okay, so this is number of empty plots times, this is base item value per seed. Hey, not bad. Sneeze, tease. Yeah, feels bad. All right, so it'll accept the item if the number of empty plots is greater than 0. And we need this concept of how much has been accumulated, what's the item value to turn in. This is something that we get from here. So that is not full, and then this is less than this amount. Okay. Good. We're getting there. Now what? Now we need to handle this stuff on loading and saving. I'm not going to worry about that yet. Get item quantity to be accepted. Where is this called from? This is overridden. Okay. So we need to override this too. And then update fish count. This is something that's called when you turn in an item. So I guess pretty much all of this stuff is going to be needed. Load from save data. Yeah, okay. Let's plug this in over here. Yeah, all right, so update seed count, I guess. Get item quantity to be accepted, should be math. This is max seed value. And then update seed count. And farm dot plant seeds. Seeds to give. Okay, we don't have a plant seeds. We have a debug plant seed singular. So we need to do public void plant seeds int num seeds. And then we just call debug plant seed, which probably shouldn't be called debug anymore. It should just be plant seed. Yeah. Done. Now rename this. Okay. It should work. Yeah, that should work. Let's try it out. So now you should be able to plant seeds by dragging potions onto the seed maker. How will we test this? Yeah, so one potion is one seed until we planted 3 of them, and then it'll plant 2 at once. So we're going to do that. We're going to bring 1 here. We should see 1 seed show up. Good. We're going to bring another 1 here. Oh, why did that happen? Oh, no. I see. I set the internal value to 2 gold, and these potions are worth 3. So after planting 2 seeds, it'll plant 3 of them. So it actually is working. And now this should plant the 4th one. It doesn't accept it anymore. Why you no accept? Ah, because it's broken. Oh, wait, no, it's not broken. Well, something's broken. This is not good. Let's put a breakpoint here. Wait, no. This must be returning true, but then it's not actually planting the seeds. So number of empty plots should be 1. This is 0. Max seed value allowed should be 2. Yeah, so this is true, but then we get to turn in item and it doesn't work, or drop off item. Where's drop off item? Okay, let's put a breakpoint here. And then let's try dropping this into this. All right, so what's happening here? Accepted quantity is 0. So that means we need a breakpoint. We need to go into that first function. Let's try that again. All right, why is this doing this? So the max quantity to accept is 0. Max seed value allowed is 2. Oh. This is not the correct way to write this, right? This should be the math.max of these 2 things. Not the math.min of them. I didn't notice that in the PR, but I'm pretty sure that's a mistake. Because if we want to accept at least 1, we want the maximum of this. Yeah. Okay. These are pretty much the exact same function. You can see barely anything changing when I do this. So maybe I should refactor them. All right, so let's try this again. Thankfully, we have a very, very easy repro here. We just drag 3 potions onto this. 1, Whoops, forgot the breakpoint was there. All right, that gives us 1 seed. This gives us 2 seeds, and this gives us our 4th seed. Perfect. Yeah. All right, that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right, then we have to force grow them right now by just pressing a button. But it's working. I am quite happy with how this is going. This is nice. So where do we leave off? Because I want to commit at some point. This is done. The seed maker stuff is all done. Add planting is kind of done. We don't have harvesting. And then perks and food and whatever else. And then, yeah, seeing if this feels fun. So we need this stuff to grow over time. Is there the word time mentioned here? No. Make crops grow. Why is this? Hey, Booksy TV. This looks awesome. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm happy with how it's turning out. Regardless of what or how quickly this goes or anything, this can look like exactly what I designed, and it might not be fun. So at some point, we need to test for fun. And it's a little bit difficult because the whole point of this system is to give you a reward. And the reward is food, but on its own, it does nothing. It's actually used to increase your health. And we don't have this system. This is not there yet. So we can test the system, we can get the reward, but the reward doesn't do anything. And it's kind of hard to tell if it's fun without the reward doing something. So we could make it just give gold instead at first, but that's not why we made the system. So that's probably not a great idea. Oh, you know what we could do? We could just make it increase all of your adventurers' health. Yeah, maybe we should do that. I'm gonna write that down. At least until we get the full feature working. Where's the thing about fun here? Here it is. Before moving on, maybe try a real game. Farm would need to grant health to all adventurers at first. Yeah. Okay, let's check this in. Because I've done quite a lot here. So we added in 4 different farm graphics. That's not really a problem. Oh, you know what we need to do? We need to check in. We need to reload this so that we get all of the UID files. Make it sound like you're rats. What did I say? I don't recall. Did this make them? Yeah, this made them. Oh my goodness. 39 modified files. Okay, well, like I said, the graphics don't really matter here. We know those look good because I didn't draw them. What is this? The Enchanter Den changed. What? Why? Book Sprite didn't even exist before. I didn't change that. Oh, you do think to reward and the reward is food, I see. I don't understand. Why would this happen? Did I change? Maybe I expanded this? I might have done that. But then I think that was an accident if I did that. Let's not expand this and see if it deletes my changes. Wait, first, what are the changes? A shader and the book sprite being there. Okay, so save. And now what? Now the number of load steps changed and editable path changed. I guess we just check this in on its own. Let's make sure it's working before I do anything. I didn't mean to do this. So we build the enchanter. Now these don't highlight correctly right now. We're gonna have to fix that, but we should still be able to see them working because I'm gonna make like 1,000,000 customers. They should start walking over this bridge. When I click this blue book, they should go faster. So I'm gonna click. Yeah, they went faster. And now we should see the worker go faster when I click the green one. Yep. And then we'll just see mana get taken when I click this. Yeah, nice. Okay, they're all working. Like I said, we don't have an animation for this. We need that. And then this error is just because we don't have that many unique customers. So yes, everything's working there. We're just going to check this in as, I don't know, fixed number of load steps in Enchanter Den. I accidentally modified this, and that led to finding this minor issue. The scene is set with that node is editable. I think it was a mistake. Because if I'm not mistaken, I think when I was making fishing, no, wait, no. Sometime around there, I think I know what I did. I made the enchanter cast spells right from the books, and then I was testing a shader, and I never deleted the test. I deleted the shader, something like that. Anyway, I'm gonna commit this. Let's go back to this. Okay, NPC scene changed by having a UID here. Godot, Godot, Godot. Should I even check this in? Fix UID and NPC scene, sure. Okay, so we added crops. The farm now has plots. There's a farm plot scene. There are 2 crop scenes. I'm not going to look too closely through those. We'll look at them in the editor. I think that's enough. So we have a crop, which is just the land and a plant. We have the whole harvest crop and the fruiting crop, yeah. You can only plant one kind for now. We need to randomize them eventually. I didn't even do that. Oh, I also said we plant them in a random plot. I don't know if people are going to want that. Like, imagine your farm is taking up this whole space and you plant a seed. Should it go into a random spot or just fill in order? I don't know. I don't know. What? That's a minor change to make in the future, to pick a random one versus a predictable one. But the planting thing, we do need to make it pick a random seed. So I should probably write that down. Randomize which seed is planted. Need a second switch. There's the chaos switch. Pull this lever to get random seed ordering. Everyone's going to use that. It's going to be the most used feature in Skeleseller. All right, now we just got to deal with this issue. If anyone can read this text fast enough, please let me know if I have any bugs in it. Oh, it stopped. Oh, I hate that. I hate that so much. I just want to read the text and it's jittering. All right, we added our new scenes. We use this, right? Farm plot. We must. Yeah, we use this. Okay, that looks good. Deleting serializable. I did not test this. And we deleted it from quest data and from somewhere else. Spell data. Okay, so here's what we need to do then. We need to build a tavern. We don't have enough money. We need to build a tavern. We need the enchanter. We need a quest ongoing that we've gotten some progress for. Grant items. We're going to drag this over here. And then we need a spell going. So we're going to do that. Now we save and then we load. And as long as it loads with the spell active and with the quest, yeah, nice. I think we're good then. How can we pass most of the majority of time editing code and spending less time in Godot? Others don't code as much. Is it more like 2 different approaches depending on how you want to approach game development? Yeah, I think so. I also think it depends on what we're doing exactly. Like complex animations, I would for sure want to do in Godot itself, because then you'd be able to see them. But for something like these crops, for example, like this plant, or sorry, the fruit. The fruit is either a tomato, a grape, or whatever else, something. We could make individual like a grape scene and a tomato scene, but you could also just set that through code because all it's doing is changing a region. Some people would make individual scenes for those things, and I think it becomes unwieldy when you have too many of them. Like enemies in a game, you typically have like 20 plus enemies in a game. So do you want something like a bat.tscn and then like a boar.tscn and so on and so forth? Like it's probably overkill. You should probably have a data-driven approach at that point. With that said, Godot does not have a visual scripting language anymore. They got rid of the one that they had. So I think most people. Oh. That's the last part that I was completely forgetting. Some people probably use Godot as their editor for code. I do not. So there is an editor built in, and I just that's not even the menu for it. I just don't use that. I use VS Code for that. So for the people who don't use VS Code, they're doing everything in Godot because they're coding through Godot as well. Did I use visual scripting? No, I didn't. But I was going to say that might be another reason why people would have stuck in the editor, is if they were just not writing code at all. But yeah, it's not really possible with Godot anymore. If you see someone using Unreal, that could still be the case. And I think Unity has some like third-party library that adds in blueprints. All right, so quest data and spell data. We modified this to get rid of serializable. And then did quest data also need to get rid of the system import? Possibly. Let's take a look. Is it yellow? No, it's not yellow. So why is this used? I guess we'll find out because something else will turn red when I do this. Exception in math. Yeah, that's reasonable. Technically, we should add a validator in here for our new crop data. Remove unnecessary serializable. All data validator. Validate dictionary has all keys. Okay, this should be called from the crop stuff too. Validate all sounds. All crop data. All right, let's put this here. Validate all crops. Delete, 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 delete. I just call this data and then call this from our data validator. No, there's somewhere else. Validate all sounds. Where does this get called from? Here. All crop data. Crops. They're great. All right, done. I find it interesting approaching it with code only and only using the GUI for complex things. I generally like doing that. I think there are times when, like I said, it makes sense to just use the editor. And it's not just animations. There could be other cases too. Like we do have some pretty simple scenes that could be done purely through code but aren't. So like this, for example, this is literally just a panel and a label. And yet we have a scene for it. And I feel like it's because there's a visual representation. We don't need a million of these things. All right, let's keep going with this. Hopefully it remembers what I collapsed. It does. Good. Oh, this fixes a bug in the extractor. We should check just that in. Fix bug with, what's it called? The extractor. There was a math.min instead of a math.max, meaning an item wouldn't be accepted when it should have been. Yeah. Okay, let's keep going. Distance between plots, that's fine. Number of empty plots been created. Should I delete this debug code? I'll just put a to-do item for now to delete it. Because I have a to-do item about deleting all of my to-do items. So we will eventually find that. Why is this happening? I'm trying to click here and then type 2 slash. Okay, now it's working. Delete this before merging. Everything else here looks pretty good. This should allow for upgrades. We don't do that yet. Hey, Kino, welcome in. Allow upgrading the farm via perks. How should you be able to upgrade the size of the farm? Maybe perks? I'll just edit this. Because it could be that you do it via a sign. Oh, I'm very torn on that. Our precedent is that you do it via a sign. And then it'll show up in the buildings menu. Nah. I'll just write it down here somewhere. Allow upgrading the farm size. I think this should be done via a sign rather than via perks. so that it shows in the buildings menu. Wait, what else? Oh boy. What else even can you upgrade that way? Shops give you more item displays. The warehouse gives you more item displays, and the vault gives you more item displays. But I think that's it now. I think those are the only things you can upgrade and via a sign. I think everything else you're going to upgrade will be via a perks board. So like the town hall has a perks board. The fishing pond has a perks board. So the farm is somewhat special in that you got to get rid of these rocks, which could be considered an upgrade, but it's also going to have perks. So which one should that go into? And like I said, I think it might be based on where you'd expect to find this. It's not really a building, but it is an upgrade. I'm torn on that. Yeah, I am torn on that. I guess if it modifies the overworld, maybe that's what we should consider it to be. If it's going to modify the town, then we should probably consider it to be a sign-based upgrade. Although that's not going to be true for the farm, right? We're probably going to add in a well. Oh, I don't know. I'll just write this stuff down and make a decision later. Where is it? Upgrading the farm size. It shows in the buildings menu. I'm torn because the only place that upgrade signs are used is for item displays. And I think a perks board for each shop would probably not be the best. Then again, using perks for all that stuff would be nice. However, using signs isn't great either if you're going to have multiple upgrades that affect the town. E.g., the farm will eventually allow for adding a well. Well, probably eventually. Where are those perks? Make crops grow over time. It's already here. Okay, well, we got to write this down then. I don't know whether this should be done via a sign as opposed to perks. If it's a sign, it'll show in the buildings menu. Yeah. Okay, allow crops to grow faster. This should probably add a well next to the farm. All right, we don't need to make that decision now. We'll just keep going. But yeah, eventually we need to upgrade this. All right, rest of this stuff looks good. Good, yep. Add a bunch of UID files. This is all pretty much the same. Good, good. Good, good, yep. Okay, now this is what, crop.cs? Okay. Yeah, ready for harvest. We don't actually have anything there. For upgrades to go into these perk panels, but I also don't feel strongly about it. Yeah, I think there are kind of three options maybe. Option number one is use signs just for item displays and perks for everything else. Option number two is use perks for everything. And option three is use signs for item displays and the farm. And then perks for everything else. I'm kind of torn between one of these two. I feel like this is probably a mistake. But I don't know which of these options sounds better. Sign just being for an initial building. See, one of the things we could do is if we did have this option, So now shops would have a perks board, I guess, or the town hall would have perks for the shops. But then shops could have other perks. I don't know what they'd be, but they could have them. Oh, wait, sorry. Caveat here is use signs just for the initial buildings. That I think is still fine. Use perks for everything else. For building and for upgrading item display. So yeah, I think I'm leaning toward option 2. But let's write that down. Okay, so note I'm leaning toward using perks for every kind of upgrade. The buildings menu can then just be used for new stuff, which should make it slightly clearer, I think, when it's highlighted. I can't type highlight. Perks for every kind of upgrade, including item displays. The question would be, where do you access perks for shops and storerooms? Could be a dedicated board, and it could be through the town hall. Oh, I think it'd be weird if it was through the town hall. Yeah, I think it's got to be dedicated boards for some of this stuff. Plus, then there'd be a consistent way of interacting with this. Well, then we'd have to hide perks from you based on what you've unlocked, which steers me toward dedicated perks boards. If we add perks for shops, we can add more than just item displays. Never combine one for shops. Yeah, I think having individual ones would be fine. Actually, there's another thing that this gives us a benefit of, which I've always kind of wanted to do. The way that you build shops right now is it starts with 2 item displays and then you add 2 at a time. And I don't like that. I want you to start with 2 and add 1 and then 1 and then 2 at a time. So you go from 2 to 3 to 4 to 6 to 8 to 10. And the reason for that is because the more incremental upgrades at first are fine. I don't want you to click 8 times to do this. And the reason why the perk board works for this is because we already have this precedent here for something like this. Max customers is 2, then +1, +1, +1, +2, +3. And it's very clear how you'll get upgrades because you'll just see them all listed out here. In fact, we don't even have to make them like this. We could do something like 2, 3, 5, 7, 10. Yeah, even that would be pretty good. I think I'll write that down. There are going to be a lot of changes. Also, we can make item displays get upgraded like this. All right, we're not done looking through this. I want to look through this. I want to get some lunch. Yep, fruiting crop. The only thing I don't like about this is it's got basically the same code as in the parent, but it's got a special case for what happens when you want to grow the fruit there. Oh, also for polish. Oh my God, we're just adding a million tasks. Polish, we should probably make crops fade in and out as appropriate. Could be 1 perk for all shops and be individual item displays. I don't think I like that. I'm not sure I understand that. 1 perk for all. Oh, like 1 perks board for all shops? And then you have like weapon perk, armor perk, potion perk. This isn't even a thing. Oh, I wanted to write a comment for this. I forgot about that. Okay, so this represents a crop that you harvest by taking the entire plant, e.g. a pumpkin. The alternative is a fruiting crop, which is one that leaves behind some kind of plant structure, e.g. an apple tree. And then in the fruiting crop one, we'll just say C whole harvest crop for why you would pick this over whole harvest crop. Sure. Oh, one single per crop upgrades all shops. Yeah, that I think would be rough because then you unlock a new shop and there wouldn't be another form of progression for it. It would just start with that. Whole harvest crop just renders null as the sprite. Right now, that's the only difference, but in the future, it's also going to be what you highlight when you need to highlight something and then what you animate. So there will hopefully be some different code there. If not, then yeah, we could definitely clean that up a bit. I should probably run this on all of this, right? .NET format detail. All right, where else do we leave off? This looks good. Looks good. What is this? Farm plot just has a crop, a grid position. We don't use the grid position. And I guess we will eventually. Plant crop, okay. There's no way to get rid of the crops yet. Yeah, all of this stuff looks good. Did it find any problems that it could fix? Farm plot did. Where's farm plot? I can't find it. Oh, it's not in alphabetical order. Yeah, nice. Okay, cool. So add crops. You can now plant crops in a 2x2 area on the farm. They start as seeds, and when you press page down, they'll grow into fruiting trees. You can't harvest the crops, and you can only get tomato plants. Anything else I want to say here? Yeah, that's probably it. All right, pretty good. Please tell me I'm on the right branch. I am not. Oh, God. All right, what did I do? We gotta cherry pick all of these over to the other ones. Is there an easier way to do this? Fix bug in seed maker. Okay, that's what last made it into this PR branch, I think. Fix bug in seed maker. Yeah, so we need everything after that. So this one, this, I'll just copy the rest. That, and that. Okay, now let's verify really fast. So E327CF8650 8A E1. Yeah, cool. Okay. All right, then we switch back to the branch I meant to be on. So let's switch to farming. And now cherry pick all of these. Yeah. Get cherry pick. Create a new branch, you get rebase onto target branch, base commit. Oh, we need to do a poll since I merged. I will write this down and process that at some later date, but I trust you, Kaitar. I think you were probably correct. When committing to the wrong branch. Whoa, that got messed up. Okay, we're gonna do all the cherry picks now. Paste. Now we should be up to date. Yeah, nice. Now we have 7 changes over here. And now the log should look pretty much the same as what we just had. Okay, crops, extractor, serializable, UID, crops, extractor, serializable, UID. Yeah, cool. More importantly, let's run the game. Yeah, rebase is definitely an easier way than what I just did. It didn't take too long, thankfully, but I really should have notes on how to do that. I mean, rebasing in that particular way. I rebased before, of course. All right, so we're going to press page up to plant, page down to grow. Nice. Nice. All right, well, I would say we're in pretty good shape. This will take into Friday, and that's okay. Continued working on farming. Actually, will it? I guess it will, but probably just because we want to change how perks work. Oh, we have a great day. Gotta head out. Hey, wait, before you leave, Zinka, when do you stream on Mondays? It's noon for me. I don't know what time zone you're in. Well, I think you're in Texas. Uh, yeah. Either way, thanks for sticking around. Hope you had a good time. I keep trying to raid Zinka, and she's never available. So she's already gone. She's not gonna tell me time. We're never raiding her. All right, I'll need to do some schedule research. All right, what was I gonna say? So harvesting, I think, is going to be a little bit difficult. Everything else should be straightforward enough. Yeah, and I'd like to get harvesting done by the end of today. So I think we can delete all of this stuff. And we're from 2 to 5 p.m. on Monday, Texas time. Hang on, wait. Time in Texas. I think it's 2 hours ahead. Yeah, it's about 2 p.m. right now, Texas time. So it'd be my noon to 3 p.m. So I'd have to raid in the middle of a stream. Okay, yeah. That should hopefully work. All right, cool. Take care. Thanks for sharing. Okay, so goal for this afternoon, get harvesting to work. And I think it's doable. If we get perks in there too, great. All this other stuff. Spoiling the surprise away. Well, this has been in the works for weeks. I don't even remember when Zinka raided, probably like a month ago or something. So I try to follow up with people when they raid, at least like look at their stream or try to raid them back. And it turns out she only streams on Mondays. All right, I'm just trying to think here. Farming is important, and we're doing that. I guess let's write that here, farming. So work in progress. Then we can add perks to these other characters, rare items. Yeah, the thing I'm not looking forward to, and I'm hoping to just voice onto Kevin, is this one. Adventure progression. This is mostly the new UI about raising adventurous stats. And I just don't think that's going to be fun. But if I get through these things and it's not being worked on, then I will work on that and we'll design something. All in all, things are moving forward. I've got some tenets I look at every week, and you might be familiar with this one if you've watched the stream on Monday morning, bricklaying. But we're just laying bricks here. Our brick wall, when we're finally done, is going to look nice and polished, but we don't know how far along we are, and we just need to keep putting more bricks down. So I'm going to get going for now. I'm going to get lunch. I'm just going to stop the stream for that time. Hope to do some UI work this week. Yeah, I think if you're going to tackle that, we should probably start with just UI mockups and then see what we like or dislike about it. Maybe even like super quickly prototype it, but not with any proper styling or anything. So yeah, I'll be back in about probably 45 minutes. It's usually about what I aim for now. I want to come back. We'll be back for 2 or 3 hours. Like I said, I want to get harvesting to work. So at least hopefully we get that. Thank you all for watching. If you like the idea of Skeleseller, please do wishlist it on Steam. We are up to like 1,300 something wish lists, which is not crazy good, but it's also not bad by any means. So I will see you all in the afternoon. Take care and goodbye.